We're live.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Plat Chat VALORANT episode 259. The numbers just keep getting bigger, and the podcast can actually get back on track because we finally have matches again. So hopefully the viewership will go up as well. Because
I thought you were going to say the podcast can get back on track because you're hosting, because that would make more sense as well.
I wasn't going to go that far. I mean, we all know it's true, but you know, I didn't have to state facts here. But yeah, so we had obviously China, EMEA, Pacific all start. America still sleeping away supposedly because of, you know, I don't know, daylight saving week, I guess. It's taking another week.
A whole week.
Yeah. But we'll get to them just as a heads up before we get into it. We are going to be starting with EMEA for some scheduling things this week. So for any of our viewers and listeners, especially if you're watching right now live, or I guess if you're listening later, it's going to be EMEA, Pacific, and then Americas. But before we get started, of course, we always have to start with the second most important segment of the show because the most important one comes at the end. We're going to talk about what you can do if you become a member of Plat Chat VALORANT. If you become a member, you get a lot of exclusive perks like getting to ask the weekly question. You get to join community tournaments and things like that as well. And this week's weekly question is super relevant. When is Plat Chat Deadlock? So everyone in Plat Chat's playing Deadlock. I don't know if everyone's playing, but pretty much everyone's playing Deadlock.
Dude,
so when's everyone jumping ship? We can't ride both ships. You have to jump from one to the other.
You're not allowed to go two games at once.
Sideshow's halfway there because.
What do you mean I'm halfway there?
You were missing some Pacific games because you're staying up till 5 a.m. playing
Hold on.
Whoa, is that what
This is insane slander, by the way. I stayed up until 4 or 5 a.m. playing Deadlock, and that's the only reason why I turned up at the right time. Meanwhile, both of you two slept in because you trusted VLR too much and turned up an hour late. So actually, me playing a bunch of Deadlock ended up with me covering Pacific, whereas you lot didn't.
Yeah. What happened the next day?
The next day, I was going to see my friends in London. I was not no-lifing playing Deadlock, brother. I was going to see
Deadlock.
Well, I literally saw you playing Deadlock. I saw you.
Uh-oh.
At least in a Discord call. I saw you in a Discord call.
Oh.
The day after.
The day after, on the night when I'd returned back from London. Possibly.
There was Pacific the next day.
Did he miss it?
I stream it.
Did you
this guy, by the way, this guy.
Pacific.
Yes, I missed the day of Pacific because I was in London. I did not miss a day of Pacific because I was staying up playing Deadlock. This guy goes and plays pub trivia instead of co-streaming.
Yeah, but that's the EMEA. Half those games don't matter.
Well, yeah, I would agree with you with that one.
Absolutely.
No argument against that. No argument against that. No, we'll all move to Plat Chat Deadlock when Riot gives all of the pro accounts away to random Mongolian fans, I think.
Yeah, it's coming. It's starting. The account
so
marketing
we're
is
getting
starting.
there. This process has begun.
Am I the only one not playing Deadlock? Does Chobra play it as well?
Yeah, I've played it. I'm playing it a lot again now. I played a lot in the beginning of the alpha or beta or whatever we're calling it, and then I got back into it like end of last year. So, all right, have you just like not played it at all, Slicky?
I played the first 2 weeks, and that was fun. Then I can't be bothered.
I mean, by the way, the game is still in like closed alpha technically.
Yeah. I played it at the beginning. It was good 2 weeks, and then I can't be bothered. Apparently, they've done loads of changes. It's really good. I imagine I would like it. I just can't be bothered.
It's an exceptionally good game. I mean, it is going to be way, way more complicated to get into for esports fans than Valorant. I mean, even Valorant, right, is like more complicated than CS, but it uses the same like pretty easy to understand format. Oh, Deadlock is like, it's like crack because you get addicted to the complexity of it. But if you're watching it, like,
It can be awful, isn't it?
It's
not going to be awful because the map is big enough that it's not like it's not completely incomprehensible. It's not like Overwatch where it's a team fight simulator, and so every 30 seconds there's just carnage on your screen. But there are going to be team fights that you can't understand for sure. But I mean, we get that sometimes in Valorant, don't we?
Yeah.
Well, not really anymore.
A little bit, bro.
There's quite a few walls at the moment. Yeah, it can be hard to work out. Sometimes we're on there was one POV this week where like he went through one smoke. It was like a viper smoke into a viper wall, and then he went back into a neon wall, and then there was a brim smoke behind. And I'm like, I'm just seeing loads of colors, man. I have no idea where we are. It looks hard to be observer because you just got to pick one, and then sometimes it can just be rough. Yeah, and if they don't get the kill.
Maybe we should nerf the controllers too. You know, we got rid of the sentinels and initiators.
Yeah.
We should nerf the controllers.
One smoke each. Yeah.
Kill them all. Kill them all.
All right. Well, I guess my biggest question there would be Assassin Pie 314 correctly identified that even Kurt was playing the 12-man. So one day
Holy.
we're going to be late because Kurt was up late playing Deadlock.
I mean,
and the Plat Chat VALORANT's going to
you've
be
never
late.
seen that before.
Yeah, that's not happening. I'm not staying up late for Deadlock.
All right. Well, for anyone enjoying it, obviously fun, excellent game. But right now, we have Valorant to talk about. And before we get to the EMEA matches, we actually had quite some big news right before everything kicked off. That there is going to be the new patch being applied, obviously, patch 12.06, featuring a Waylay and nerf. And personally, I would say it's rather significant, you know, not like a killer, but it's pretty important. So for those who don't know, basically Waylay will now have to oh yeah, the April
They copy in
Fool's notes.
Deadlock. That's what I was talking to
Copy in Deadlock. Yeah. They know where it's at. So Waylay now can't just throw the saturate anymore. You have to equip it. So for those who don't understand how that works, basically you have to press it and then, you know, you're gonna hold it in your hand and then you'll have to throw it instead
Like
of
a
just being able
raise
to-
nade.
Yeah, like a raise nade, Phoenix Flash, you know, all those things. So where are we, first of all, about the nerf? Sliggy, how you feeling about the Waylay change coming up?
I mean, I think it needed to happen. Is what I refer to as the best ability in the game. Maybe arguably with like Viper Wall, because I guess that's pretty OP as well. But I think in terms of like a one-click ability, it was pretty good. So it needed some kind of change. I would have preferred a number change, but I don't mind this. It does feel like, because obviously it's still in play at the moment. And there was like a couple of times where I just watched it and I was like, there's nothing you can do if someone dashes on you and then saturates and then insta refracts out before you have a chance to shoot them. So I feel like it's fine to take away the mechanic that essentially doesn't give you anything that can counter it unless you're a Yoru who doesn't really get played or a chamber. So I don't mind it too much. I don't think it would change too much of the pick. I just think the teams will have to play it a little differently. Yeah, I don't think it would
I
change
think
too
it's
much.
an enormous change, personally.
Really?
Like, because I'm thinking about all the ways, like the reasons why you use a Waylay. You're using a Waylay because you can do. I mean, the first thing that people figured out was that double dash, drop a pulse bomb on their head kind of thing.
But that was only DRX that showed us that.
Sure,
That was
yeah.
and like people were playing.
But there's
that
still people
before.
doing it now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There
yeah.
were
But
people playing Waylay before.
Not
Playing
well.
though.
No one was playing Waylay well before.
Yeah.
Sure. I
Before
can get on
that.
board with that.
Anyway, sorry. What I'm then going to is, I think that's the first part of it. And you might even be able to do that, right? Because you could literally dash in with the saturate in your hand. It'd be kind of goofy because then what if you don't find the guy? You just literally have to press refract. But all of the other things that Waylay does, where you're like jump peeking and throwing it out, where you throw it out to stop yourself getting traded. So like you're holding an op angle, for example, and then you throw it out as part of your escapability. Like all of that stuff is got, like that part is gone. Like you literally are not going to be able to pull out the saturate and throw it out to stop being traded quickly enough. I think there's just going to be so many situations where it's clunky or doesn't make sense to the point where it's like quite a bad, not bad, but like the use cases are going to go down to like 20% of where you would normally find opportunities. Ability, I think. There's so much of
that's
it.
a lot higher than I think.
Yeah, I'm looking at these guys playing Waylay, and I'm just thinking, right, anytime you got an op in your hand, you're just not going to bother fiddling around with your buttons in order to throw one out. You're not going to be able to run it. You remember the trap play that people do where they hold off contact and then they immediately throw it out? Can't do that anymore unless someone else is now holding contact for you.
Yeah.
So it requires a whole extra player. I just think there's so many situations where this is a big nerf. But, you know, like you said, probably a needed one because it didn't have counterplay, really.
Yeah, I think that was like the part where I was like, well, you can't counter it. But I don't think it's as bad as you think because it would just be, it still pops faster than a raise nade. Like if you're comparing like raise holding angles and then someone's running up on them and like you would pop a nade and a lot of times you get caught. But I think you can normally pop it pretty fast. It goes off like pretty instantly. So all you got to do is just, it takes away, so I think it's the opposite. I think it takes away like 20% of what you would do before. Whereas you're thinking it takes away 80, right? That's kind of what you said.
Like
yeah.
in terms of the fast-paced nature of how people are using it at the moment, like I'm thinking a lot of what they're doing, they won't be doing. I think it will be more like Raise Nade, where it's like you know, a lot of the time where you're using it, it's not in the middle of a team fight, is it? Where you're throwing out a
Yeah,
base
yeah.
nade.
I mean, it's going to engage your brain a bit more. I don't think it's too bad, but it's one of those where we don't. Oh no, dude, but that's big for players, man.
Yeah.
You don't want to
Oh, I
have
thought you
that.
were talking to Sideshow.
No. That's
I'm never
trust me,
using that ability
most of
anyway.
players.
If I'm
Yeah,
playing
yeah.
Waylay, my brain is not engaged to run the 0 equip time saturate.
This will be interesting though, because it's one of those, like, we pretty much all agree, apart from maybe some people still feel that yours is like okay. This one's kind of interesting because I feel it's like a 50-50 split of people that think it's a big nerf and not so much.
Yeah.
Do people really think that I mean, even after watching, people are still saying that the Euro nerf is not that big? I mean, like, it's basically killed it in terms of pick rate.
No, yeah, I mean, I think the pro teams agree, but I've definitely seen like some other coaches or
Right.
I guess they call us podcasters now.
Yeah,
What do
yeah.
they call us? Podcasters.
Bench
Bench
warmers.
Mini
warmers.
greatest coach of all time.
Benjamin.
Now a podcaster.
Podcaster, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's like some of those are saying it. Podcaster mini.
Yeah, TMV, just quick, you think it kills Waylay or no?
I'm gonna take the middle path, and I'm gonna say it hits 50% of,
Okay.
of the
Yeah,
use
okay.
cases.
The
I think
fence sitter.
I agree with Sliggy though. Like, I personally would have preferred a numbers nerf, I think, but this I think is like in my head when I'm thinking about the use cases, like, and having seen people like, you know, try the dash stuff and try to equip it, like the thing what you said, Sideshow, like where you equip it first and then do the dash stuff. Well, you can't do that because you equip it, but then you equip your hands.
yeah.
Your hands come out first
Yeah.
like this, and then so you have to equip it midair, which is a little bit awkward. So I think it'll still be okay. I do think, like, had the sky change not happened, I could see this being kind of like a perfect spot. I think because of sky and that opening up, like, I feel like double initiator, sky Sova, sky Teo, sky whatever, right? Sky fade, whatever you want to play on whatever map. I feel like because that got a lot better, maybe teams will be like, this nerf is big enough to warrant just going to Sky Fade or whatever. Like, for instance, on Bind, right, where we are seeing a lot of Neon Waylay, we know that Sky and Fade are both good agents on that map. I could see some teams, like, you know, going, well, let's just play Fade, Sky, Neon, and we're fine. We still got good agents.
Did you ever run the numbers in kickoff for how much double duelist was being played, team?
Yeah. Do you want me to get it up for you?
I just mean roughly. Yeah, I mean, if you have them to hand, then for sure. Because I was looking at stage 1, because I was thinking about, like, how much we were talking about this maybe being, you know, mirror matches and stuff. And we've got 55% double duelist pick rate, which is not that high, actually, I think. I mean, it's high, don't get me wrong. I mean, it is like the majority of comps being played, but that's not, it's not dominant to the same degree. And I would even say gut check, it feels like a little bit lower than kickoff.
So
Maybe lower
overall,
than
like, if you
Santiago,
count
maybe
double
not
duelist
kickoff.
with a Senti and double duelist without a Senti, like double controller, adding them both together, yeah, you're looking like 57%. Double
In
controller
kickoff.
is actually, like, having 2 controllers in your comps is actually more common, or was more common.
Right.
You have to remember,
in
like, that's
kickoff.
kickoff. A lot of teams were, you know, doing some random shit as well at the start. Like, not
yeah.
everyone was
It was
doing
a mixed bag. Yeah,
A lot of them
And we
were
had
not doing it
everybody.
and then complaining about the meta. That's my favorite one. Yeah.
I'm sure if you went to Santiago would be a lot higher.
Yeah, because there was only
Santiago
one
was
team.
like, yeah.
Right? Exactly.
Santiago's
Yeah,
a better one to 1v1 it. But I just we're seeing more double initiator, but maybe that's because of the sky change and the Yoro, obviously.
All right. Well, we'll see. I do have a question. Do you know when this patch is hitting the other regions? Because Pacific is hitting week 4, is what Jake Sin said on social media.
Maybe they should reconsider that. How about they change that so that it aligns with the other regions?
I
America's
would
getting
love
it
that,
week 1.
but-
America's getting it week 1 because they start later, right?
Yeah.
And EMEA is doing it at the same time as America. So that's
Yeah.
week 2 for EMEA.
Week 2.
Because they started differently. Why on earth would Pacific be waiting until week 4 to implement a patch? Like, because the other regions are now incentivized to get with the change early, right?
Yes.
Like, if you're an America's team, you just don't even, you know, you don't
switch it.
bother implementing a huge amount of Waylay if you believe that this nerfs Waylay heavily. And so, but Pacific are like, they have to actually
You don't think
commit
teams
to
should be
the previous
copying
patch.
Gen.G and saying, like, oh, we've practiced with this for 3 months now, so
So we
too
have
late.
to, we
Too
have
late,
to
we're not
use
changing
it.
it.
Yeah. Can't be bothered to make a
Yeah.
new strat book. So we got to just use an agent that isn't strong anymore.
That's criminal.
Well, we got enough Pacific, so I think it's Riot's way
It's
of
fair.
doing that, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I mean,
Less
it
time.
obviously isn't ideal one way or the other for any regions that's not Americas, because you have to at least play 1 week. But we'll see what happens. But for those wondering, Pacific, it was publicly stated, at least from Jakeson, that it would be week 4. I guess EMEA and Americas, it's this coming week. So we'll see. We'll see how much Waylay we'll find out. But we already had 1 week without the Waylay changes, so let's see how that went in EMEA. Let's start with a match that personally I thought, regardless of player quality, like, sure, this should still be a 2-0, right? We're done with kickoff. FNATIC should be looking good, but it was pretty close. FNATIC, they do get the W eventually, but Eternal Fire put up a hell of a fight. I mean, they came out swinging right from the get-go.
Echo looks insane.
Yeah, this was a good sign, I think, for Eternal Fire just off the bat, in terms of just like, we should expect now that they will compete in pretty much every game, I would think. Like, because if you can shoot back this well, you should be in every game. Obviously, Lotus will come to perhaps at the end, but the first 2 maps, I mean, legit, we could be living in a world quite easily where this was a 2-0 Eternal Fire, and we're going, what the hell's wrong with FNATIC? Right? Imagine we didn't see Lotus. We'd be going, oh my god, burn it down, right? We'd be thinking they were in chaos talk. But with the way that it went, I think starting with Eternal Fire, this is a good sign early on. I still think there are, I don't think they're going to be like, a top contender or anything like that, because I still think there's quite a few things. Like, I think, what's he called? Izzy? I think Izzy is a bit too reliant on scope sometimes. He's a bit of a scope merchant, and they don't really have necessarily. It's not like your Lover's Rock and you're playing Yoru every map now either, right? So it's not like you can just perma kind of abuse that stuff either, potentially, with the comps that they're playing. I think that can sometimes be a problem for them. But I think on the whole, you have to be like considering like they did pretty well, against like what we expect to still be a team who's probably going to London. And so like for me, looking at their group, right? You're thinking, can you scrape into playoffs? You've got BBL, Vitality, FNATIC, but can this team beat Pacific and Giants with what we saw? I mean, yeah. Absolutely, right? So they should be at least aiming for 4th. The problem for them is like, this was a winnable game. Like, they actually could have won. And if they did win this game, then they're probably definitely getting into playoffs, right? Assuming they can beat Giants and Pacific. But overall, like, that's at least something to build on, that they could probably make playoffs and see what they can do from there.
I also think Echo had I'm wondering if Echo can keep this up. I know he's a great player, but this was like actual God game performance stuff. Like, I don't know. When I was watching this, it made me sad that we didn't get to see Sop with him as well, with that like original Elf roster, because Sop was frying. Like, I loved watching Echo when he was playing in Ascension 2, but Sop was also. This team had swagger and an insane amount of firepower, and it made me a little bit sad that we didn't get to see them at full strength too, but I'm glad that they were at least able to show like this in their opener, so that people are paying attention to them now.
Yeah, I mean, even just looking at it, you might even say, like, just from the first week, that they probably looked the 4th best. But it's hard with the Lotus that was there, I guess, because the Lotus looked a little rough, or FNATIC at least looked incredibly good at Lotus, is how most people would take away that. I think the good thing was just aim duels, man. Like, first map, they were out-aiming them a lot. I think FNATIC, in my opinion, heavily misplayed their Harbor comp. I didn't really like it on defense. I felt like their theory was fully off. Like, if you're playing a Harbor, and you're obviously just gambling one side, right? And then you can retake the other. Why is your main resource of retaking anchoring a site?
Did you see?
Doesn't make sense.
Did you see? Boaster did a VOD review of it.
Oh, did he?
No? Yeah.
So
I only saw it because it was popping up on my YouTube Shorts feed, and I'm like, why on earth is he doing a VOD review of a like
on stream?
On stream, yeah. I mean, I assume so, because again, I'm only seeing the like the edited content afterwards. But like, even the clips, he's just talking about like all of the ways that they're misplaying it, and like he's being really specific too. He's like, Crashy should have thrown a recon here when they're A splitting. Like, Kayak should be rotating through mid instead of through spawn here. And I'm thinking, why on earth are you telling people this for the next time you play against them on Breeze?
Yeah.
That's a little crazy. But it did look like one of those where maybe they hadn't had the most reps, and they're like still going through the process of working out what they're doing wrong. Because their attack looked really good. Their attack was really nice, and I guess.
And Boaster's calling was so nice on the attack
really
side too. I really liked that.
And even in the timeouts, I would say that FNATIC's coaches kind of came. Honestly, there was like 3 timeouts where the FNATIC came out and they just did the most perfect counter to what Eternal Fire were going to do as well. Especially on like Breeze when they face window with that one way when when I think it was Izzy with the op wanted to peek out. So there was a lot of good, and yeah, it's one of the it's what I call a free lesson, right? They managed to get away with this. Like definitely could have got 2-0'd, and they can fix their breeze. I just don't want to see the hard anchoring A like this, at least in as committed positions, because
it got to a point where Eternal Fire were just running it down A because they knew
it was the Boaster.
There's nothing you can do.
Where's Waldo? But it's where's Boaster, and they go
just hunt him. And he's isolated on site on his own with a harbor. Nothing he can do.
It's also he and Crashies got caught out multiple times by the pace of Eternal Fire. They both were like, still had util in their hands, expecting it to be slower paced. And I'm wondering how much I believe this myself, but the easy and obvious narrative from this is that FNATIC played a very different style actually on these first two maps. They really were doing the faster paced, more committed, aggressive hits that we were asking from them. But when they just played essentially the same shit they've been doing forever on Lotus, they wiped the floor with this team. Whereas the newer style stuff was struggling a lot more. Part of the reason that I'm not convinced in my own story that I'm telling there, though, is that actually that faster paced attack side stuff that they were doing on Breeze was the thing that was working. It was the defense that was struggling there, but the like faster paced attack on Bind really was kind of getting crushed. But their fast defensive stuff that they were doing on Bind was fun to watch too. Like Kayak seemed like he was kind of thriving in those situations. But I don't know. The comfort maybe is not 100% there still with FNATIC trying to play a little faster, a little looser. But it's not black and white.
I mean,
I think
it'll
get there.
Yeah, it seems like that's what also Boaster was implying, right? In those clips where he was talking, he was like constantly mentioning like, "Oh, we didn't like communicate this. We should have," or like, "Oh, we practiced like swinging it, this way or with doubles, but we missed it." So it definitely seems like there's a little bit of discomfort there with how they were trying to adjust, at least on the Breeze specifically, because that's what he was looking at. So
yeah,
we'll see how it comes together on the other maps.
It looks like a nice role for Alpha as well. Just letting Kayak do all the hard work, essentially, all the risky stuff, and then he can kind of just go in and clean up, and he gets a lot more freedom that he can just push other sites as like this, like when Kayak's just creating pressure elsewhere. So I think a long term is going to work out. It's just it's just looking not super convincing yet, but I imagine in about 2 weeks it will be.
Yeah.
All right. Well, FNATIC, I guess, everyone's still holding faith, but Eternal Fire looks to be worth looking into. We'll see. We'll do our predictions later. Should be an interesting match next week. I believe it's against BBL, so that should be a pretty high firepower match.
The Ascension battle.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
FNATIC play Vitality as well. Like both of these teams have insanely good matches next week.
Well, big ones too, yeah. I guess especially for Eternal Fire, narrowly missing out on that one. But we'll get to those predictions in a little bit. We'll move on to the second match that we had in week 1 of EMEA. It was a battle between Team Liquid and Karmine Corp. And Sideshow, you've got a nice smile. You want to tell us a little bit of what happened to Karmine Corp here?
I mean, I believed in them and was fairly disappointed with what I was watching, I gotta be honest with you. I mean, very disappointed, let's be honest. Very disappointed. Dosia played like a god had descended to Earth on map 1, and yet they still were not able to capitalize on this. I think Sugetsu forgot who he was, I suppose, and there were so many problems. But starting on the defense, Sugetsu's getting absolutely manhandled repeatedly, but at no point is there any attempt to have him ever play with somebody else. It's the same, like, so when he was holding A, he's like flashing and solo swinging over towards A short while Narrate is behind the default box. Absolutely no attempt for them to play off each other, fall back and play around a site smoke, see if they could, bait for one another, take a crossfire together, double up, maybe graffiti. None of that. Literally never played together one time. And all right, if Sugetsu's in a god game and he's like beaming people, but he wasn't. He was getting brutalized. He was dying first repeatedly on the defense side throughout this match. Narrate also had I think he's watched Champions and decided he's going to become Brock, and so he just picked the Odin every single round, and even picked the Ares up in rounds where he wasn't. Which, I'm all down for that. Like, if you want to do some personal development and decide that you're going to learn how to do this, fair enough. but he's not at the Brock level now, and Karmine Corp need him to be one of their big, like, aggressive riflers. Like, one of the big reasons why we were excited to have Narrate back on the team is that we're thinking about kind of his 2024 performances where he was destroying people with rifling. And I don't know, I think you could count the amount of rounds that he had a rifle on one hand in this match. And he was also mostly playing passive. Aves was playing the more aggressive of the initiators. Why the fuck are we doing that? My IGL who's playing the Tejo is playing more aggro than the Fade who used to send it in second on this team. I don't like any of how they were set up on the attack or the defense side. The like way that they've envisioned the team working, and they look like they have no synergy with each other. And I think that's fair enough for Narrate because he's brand new, but like it's just the same shit that they were doing in Kickoff where they looked like they were all plunked on the same servers and their comms had died.
Yeah, I mean, I can, because that was mostly about Haven, is I guess what you're referring to, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
'cause
I
then
mean, but then it
no,
got worse.
That's what I mean. I don't
It got
mind,
worse.
Don't mind stepping into bashing the EMEA Pearl for sure, especially when it's gifted like this. They're just like they're so passive. Like they were doing those A defaults over towards A where they would put the wall, and like that's not too bad. But then everywhere they would just sit back, or they would just go gamble, and then as soon as they got the information, they've like over rotated, and then as soon as that was failing, I think they went like 4-0 down. They just weren't doing anything. They weren't even fighting on the sides. They had no information on the sides, and they would just start the round with just no information and then gathered no information. It's like, you guys are just going to get wrecked. You just don't know where they're hitting, and they're just gambling. So it was really rough. I mean, I know they lost all pistols as well. That doesn't help, but their defense side is, the defense side on Paolo is like, I don't know how they expect to win rounds. There's loads of times where when you're playing a Vice, because you've only got the one bit of info, you gotta be playing like proactively somewhere, push together, and like they were peaking certain places together, but they were never going like deep or that far. So they got to be way more proactive on defense as well. Especially most people play a Killjoy in this map just for the double info. I think it would help them a lot, really. So yeah, a little worried about how they played, but I kind of like the pick from Liquid. It was one of their weaker maps, and they actually look good on the map. We had an A default, a B default, something that we hadn't seen from them before, which is always a good sign, to be honest.
EMEA stepping up on Pearl.
The EMEA stepping up on Pearl. I mean, everyone's playing it at the moment, which is actually good. Like it is getting a better level. Like it is getting a better level.
It's frustrating how much like. So you've had an undue influence, Sliggy, upon the co-streamer viewer scene, and so people keep coming into my chat and being like, "Why are they playing Pearl? EMEA can't play Pearl." I'm like, "You motherfuckers! How do you think they're ever going to get better at Pearl if they always avoid Pearl? They have to." Sliggy's point is they shouldn't be playing it at internationals against other regions. Not that they should always hide and never play the map and just delete it entirely from their map pool. Come on!
It should actually be an agreement that the third map is always Pearl.
It's always Pearl.
Just so that as a group we can get better. But it was a lot better from Liquid on this map as well. They were kind of already on board with this meta as well. Yeah. And Miniboo's really good, man. Miniboo camo looks deadly.
Yeah, I think for me, like the thing that's good for Liquid early on is a lot of the Yoru teams, and maybe we'll come on to a couple in a second. Like they didn't seem maybe fully comfortable in terms of where do you want to go, right? If you're a team that's always playing Yoru, like what do you want to do? And maybe there's some we're coming with question marks, but like Liquid just went, well, we're gonna play camo on Phoenix now, and he looks good on Phoenix, and it looks like they have solved their kind of wherever they want to go with the Yoru problem. Whereas I feel like other teams, still maybe need to either adjust something different or put more work into whatever way they went in week one. But I think Liquid are. Yeah, they were already kind of in this zone with the sky and all of that. And they've already, I think, have found a direction for them that works pretty well. Because Camo's Phoenix, I think, looked, perfectly. I mean, especially map 1, it looked really good. So
yeah.
Like, I think they're set up pretty well.
Generally, how do you guys feel about Phoenix being a replacement and still being able to try to play, some aggressive, fast-paced double duelist?
I think I'm personally okay with it if your game plan makes sense and you've got like a really good fragger on it. I think it's very dependent on the player itself. It has to be like Primmie was on it at one point, like those kind of players. Like West Side, I'm fine with it as well if you add like more of a incentive on getting orbs and actually like feeding them. So I think if you have the right players, sure, I'm all right with it. If not, and you kind of got like a scoped player, mate, just go for chamber. I'm seeing loads of players that I personally believe are like way comfier on scopes. Just do a chamber. You don't have to, like, flashes aren't essential in this game. They're very nice. They're very, very nice to have. It makes life a lot easier, but you don't have to have a flash. Like, a drone is way more important than a flash these days. Smokes must, like drone must. Don't have to have a flash. There's a way to work around it. So I would prefer teams that kind of believe that they have to have a flash, maybe leaning more into a chamber and just going solo Neon, and that Neon accepting that he's going to have
Even
a rough
if you
score.
have to, you have Sky. You could just play
you
Sky.
could play that as well.
Yeah.
Like if you're so desperate.
Yeah, you've got other ways to shore that up now. Well, Team Liquid back on home ground, getting ready to go all the way to go 1-2 at another international at Masters London. So
It's
they're
locked
right on
Yeah.
track. But KC Sideshow, well, Godspeed. Hopefully
No,
things
it's
look a
not
little
fun.
better next. Okay,
It's not fun.
Dude, with a pistol,
I tried.
give him some pistols, it will look better. That
look,
Haven's close with a pistol.
yeah, it's another close loss with a pistol. I mean,
Okay.
it's just frustrating that all of the nice things that we're talking about Liquid, the fact that they've immediately hit on something that seems like it's working for them, it's like the exact opposite of Karmine Corp, right? They are just struggling from archetype to archetype, never finding anything that naturally fits the team, whilst jumping very strongly from different direction to different direction, and they just can't hit on the answer. And at no point do their players look comfy working with each other. It's really rough out there.
Oh.
But I believe.
Yeah,
You do?
After all
Alright.
of that, you still
Well,
believe.
we'll see about that
A true
in the
fan.
picks, I suppose.
Yeah, well, that's true. Yeah, we'll find out shortly. All right, let's move on to the next match. Another, I mean, all of these obviously first looks for stage 1, so lots of interesting points. But Team Vitality finally debuting Sayonara in a VCT official, and it goes quite well against GIANTX. I mean, I think most people would have expected Vitality to, be able to win no matter what, but overall, it looks pretty smooth sailing here, TMV.
Yeah. From the Giants' perspective of like Vitality, they were good.
Wow. yeah.
They were good. Good for you, Vitality. But Giants, like apart from Westside, and because Giants played in the Clash tournament and they were playing double duelist and it didn't go well. And the big question for me was like, oh, what the hell is this team gonna do, right? They decided to kind of stick with it by going Westside on Phoenix, and I'm like, ooh, well, let's see if this works. Westside starts popping people, like going crazy, and you're right, Siggy, like they still could have more of kind of like a detailed full your Phoenix plan in mind, but like, okay, Westside is definitely a good enough shooter to like make this work for sure. We figured that out, which is great. But then this team just like wilted a little bit, I think, and it just like Giants for me are a team that we obviously saw at the end of last year, like they got hot, they started to look good, and I think a lot of people were hoping they were going to come into this year, and build on what they've done in champs and be like a good kind of like what Foot used to be, right? Like a team that can make internationals, who's like a very solid EMEA team. I think that's what people perhaps thought, expected for Giants, and they just aren't going to be that team. I mean, many talked about how stage 1 is Giants' off season, and they're going to make some roster moves, and then they'll be good for stage 2. Maybe that's true. Maybe that'll just happen again. But this was just like, I know you're playing against a very good team, don't get me wrong, but like, Eternal Fire played FNATIC very close, and we've come away feeling good about them. Whereas Giants, I just feel like, whew.
Bro, look at this round. Well, Kurt, go back a little bit. It's crazy. It's 4-2. It's a really important round. They get the first pick. Why are we doing this? When we have a main control as well. When people fight, when people fight middle, they're normally together middle. Like if we're not fighting a main, normally there's not going to be many people over towards B. I think they even had the B info. Like they're going to be here. Why are we doing that? And this fucking shit. Oh, with no one behind it. Christ, dude, I was pissed off watching this as well. Like this after watching the Astra descend it through door, I was just like, I'm so annoyed with this team right now. But I think that out of all the teams, out of all the regions, this is the team that got hit the hardest with the changes because first of all, they don't have a double duelist, which is like it's pretty bad. They're trying to work out how to fix that. So Arrow's kind of like solo Neon maybe on some of these, which is a little bit hard. And they were very like heavy dependent on the initiators. But on top of that, Ascent and Sunset going, like they're two stomping grounds. Like they just got so wrecked by a patch. I've never seen a team get more wrecked by a patch than this team.
And it didn't even come back this time either.
Yeah,
No,
yeah, that's
yeah.
what I mean. They got it's like a state. Yeah, it is like a stage 2, maybe even a
Pray,
next
I pray
year
Ascent and
angle.
Sunset come back.
Yeah, just hope they buff and change some of the maps. So
Do you think that GIANTX then is a team that could benefit from the Waylay changes? Like if, it kind of shuns other people away a little bit from potential double
not really,
duelists?
because what's their identity still?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the issue. It doesn't solve the problem of like, what do we do?
Yeah.
Sure, that's another
guess
agent
so.
that we couldn't use that we're not going to use. Now what do we do? Dude, Kurt, have you got that Haven round as well?
Is this the round where they go for a BBL round where let's take the entire map all at the
Yeah,
same time?
dude, look at the
1v1?
mini map here.
Oh my god.
Like, you can just join the mini map. I was calling this the League of Legends round where they all have a lane each. Five
it's
lanes.
unbelievable. I was losing my mind.
5 lanes. Everyone take your lane. Everyone get your 1v1. What do you mean there's 2 over towards one of here? It's not, how's that happened? It's crazy, dude. Like, why am I seeing this so early on in the game? Both of those clips, like, pretty early on in the games. Like, we can't be doing this.
It does feel like they've watched BBL. This very much feels like they were attempting to do that kind of thing.
But somewhere
This feels
They're
like a
they're
ranked
even
go
more
play for kills
discoordinated.
round.
you're playing
Yeah, it
against
does.
it doesn't make sense. The way the BBL do it is they go like 2-2s. They have numbers, they have trades, they're gonna be
Yeah.
able to get 1-for-1s. You're doing this, you're playing against double info sentinel. They're gonna get info somewhere that you've pushed, and then they're stacked 2 in the other positions to punish you. How do you think your 1s are gonna win your 2s, and then your 1s that have been found by some kind of info are gonna be so impactful? It doesn't logically make any sense.
When I was watching this game, I wasn't really caring about GIANTX. I got to be honest with you. Like, I as soon as we saw how this game was going, I was like, right, well, I don't think this team's going to be doing anything for the whole of stage 1. So I was mostly
Fair.
just looking at Vitality the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
And despite the fact that they actually had extremely good performances, I still think there's lots and lots of areas that they need to work on. The main area being their defense side. I think their defense side right now is super loose and very much just like they're calling shit on the fly and trying to figure out how to respond to each other. I think they could do with a lot of tightening up by having some set protocols of, hey, if we see somebody in this position, we're walking down here. Like, hey, if we're making, if we get information in Garage, we're pushing up to this point. That on Pearl, I think, is a great example because they're running a KO on this map, and yet their KO reactions were not scripted. So they had a round. It was great, actually, because we got to hear the comms from the players and from the coach as well. But one of the rounds, they catch 4 players up on the B side of the map, and Chronicle goes for a walk up A main. But he doesn't just take space, he just full walks into spawn and takes a horrible fight. And you get to see Pal afterwards, and he goes in the most British way possible. My chamber's going on an adventure. And it's like, and after I'd just been watching Haven, and I was like, these are great players, but they do not have just some really fundamental ideas of how each other are gonna play on the defense side to not have to look on the minimap and not have to react to your teammates, to just know this is what my teammate is gonna do in this situation. And so I know like what area I need to pick up, what area I need to push. And I think at the moment it's really loosey-goosey. I don't know where that comes from, whether the players want it to be like that, whether Yampy wants it to be like that, but they could benefit a lot from tightening some shit up, I think.
Yeah, I think as well as what you're saying there, like a similar thing I saw from Sayonara, where essentially like they're gonna go play retake over towards the site, and he's on the Viper, and he's playing like aggro like on the site, where he can potentially give away a kill, or he's trying something that's a little risky, especially when they have the ult advantage. It's just like, man, just leave the site and play the numbers. So I agree with maybe I don't mind it being like really loose, or maybe like more experienced players or just like insane fraggers are allowed to kind of let loose a little bit. But I don't know, man. It happens so much that I think there does need to...
doing it a little bit is fine.
Yeah,
for sure.
It does need to be reeled in a little bit. But
There's
Sayonara...
another example where Prophet died,
player.
though, in A main.
Yes, yeah, this was the comms example. That was round 4 on Pearl.
Sure.
I mean, could we show that actually, Kurt? Because this is an A main reclear. And this is one of those spots where you actually just should have, this is our A main reclear idea, right? Like we have an idea of how we want to fight this. They scout, they realize that there's a player behind the box in A main. This is the walkabout round. I'm apologizing. It's round 5. It's the next round. So it was the round immediately after this one. They do a comms listening. And so you've just seen the chamber go for his little adventure in A main. And then there's this A main reclear round, and Prophic ends up committing when the rest of his team doesn't, and they get caught in a weird spot.
Oh yeah, I remember this. Where he was just
Right.
like,
Maybe it was round 3. I might be
Yeah,
sending
wait,
Kurt
yeah.
all over the place. I wrote down round 4 and 5, but I might have just given
I
you
think
entirely the wrong round.
I think it is the bonus round. I think it's the third round because they were listening into bonuses a lot of the time. So
Right.
I
Okay.
think it might be that. Yeah, I remember this where it's just like, yo, let's retake, and then Prophet's just like going really early, but no one's like that
Yeah, everyone's
ready.
just chilling.
Yeah.
But they're like in the comms, you can hear them trying to construct the plan of the reclear rather than having a guys, let's reclear A, and everyone knows like what they're supposed to be roughly doing in that.
But I think because it's a like if we got the right round, because it's a bonus that's stacked heavier here, and it's like 4. Well,
There's 4 of them, I
so
think.
maybe it's like something they're not used to. But I do agree, it does look like one of those. But this happens with meta changes. Imagine they were playing Yoru all the time and they had to change up all their comps.
Yeah.
So,
It's just something to work on. I'm not saying that it's like unfixable or anything. It's just like a clear area that they can work on. It's just so
I do remember
it's so
this.
uncoordinated compared to what you would expect from. Because if you watch them on like their attack sides or something, those look really nice. Actually, I was messing with what they were up to on attack.
Yeah. No, I mean, for sure. I think you're hopping on the right thing here, especially with a KO. Like you just need back of pop flash in the open. It forces the man into the open swing. So.
The other thing too is just like Narrate going for the Odin maxing, and it's like Narrate went and watched Brock. Durka has been watching Dambi and is trying to play the like Dambi judge spam. There were many rounds where Durka had money to be able to buy a rifle, decides to buy a judge instead. Happened frequently. His movement is still not anywhere near as good as Dambi's, but I think he had like I think he has like the best stats in the world right now on Neon. But it is not because his Neon movement is as good as it could be. It's just because he's like a phenomenal player who is also getting in a game where they were kind of shit stomping their opponent. But I mean, I don't mind it if people are working on this kind of stuff, but it's like you would be better in the short term by just putting a rifle in Durka's hands more often and playing the style that he's comfortable with. But maybe in the long term, it'll be worthwhile and pay off.
I mean, also, obviously, like we see the Waylay change coming, but no signs of the Neon one yet immediately.
There are rumors about that, though.
There are rumors. That is true. So we'll see. Because I don't think you definitely can't rely on it for the whole year, but maybe you're just hoping that it gets you like through to the end of stage 1 or something like that. But we'll see. I mean, Vitality, all right, more to look forward to. I mean, obviously, I think the main thing that people were looking forward to was just like the player quality, and that definitely showed.
Yeah,
through,
the player quality. Like Sayonara is a really good aimer, like a really good aimer. I think on some of the, I think it's scary giving so much freedom to inexperienced players. That's kind of where I view it, because a lot of the time they'll overextend or they'll go for something a little too much where you can just win the round for sure if you just chill. That's like my worry with it. But he's a great aimer.
Yeah, they'll get tested on that for sure in next week, right, against FNATIC if you get a little too loosey-goosey. Sure. So we'll see how that goes through. All right, halfway through week 1, we had a big show up from none other than FUT Esports.
Pissed me
Upset.
off.
Yeah.
Let's go!
Wait, why? You don't have to be mad just because TMV can be happy.
No, I am. TMV is a weird human. He goes from either the most miserable Scrooge-like being on Earth to oscillates entirely to the other end of the spectrum to standing up chanting like the happiest being that's ever known dopamine. And there's no in between. It just goes from one straight to the other. And it pisses me off.
Unlucky.
This is
unlucky.
true.
Also, Kurt, what the hell? This wasn't a big upset. A big upset would be if we Plat Chat guaranteed it. And we did not Plat Chat guarantee this game, did we?
I don't think
because
this is a big
someone
upset.
knew.
You were paid.
Nah. I think even if you take away the pay,
Mini swapped.
did it?
Yeah.
It is like a dude. You got to think as well. Gentleman's their main shit got nerfed, and FUT changed up. So it is an upset, no doubt. But I wouldn't say I would take
I'm
away the
actually
big.
a bit worried for FUT because I feel like they went in a full Waylay. Like they've got the team set up for Waylay Neon. Like it's perfectly there for them, Waylay Neon. And so now can we not just do the Pacific thing where we just push it back like 3 weeks? Just let them play Waylay Neon for like and get really good at it for 3 weeks. Because I am a little bit concerned about where exactly they'll go with that, because they're like almost the opposite of Giants, Whereas like you've got 2 duelist players. Like you're not playing anything else. Like you are playing double duelist. And so if Riot could not nerf Neon and Waylay and Phoenix or whatever else, if they could just leave the duelist to be good, that'd be great.
Yeah.
They wouldn't mind. But FUT great. It's all coming up roses now.
It looks way better. Like they had to make some kind of changes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
It looks really nice.
Sociable.
Sop is a big
Sociable
pickup.
was
Sociables, yeah.
Mhm.
In this
Yeah, he went
game,
nuts.
he was unbelievable, IGLing and just dominating in his own right as well. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, no, he had an absolute pop off game. How much of this do you think is also not just the patch changes, but Gentlemates having been properly like tested and somewhat exposed, right, in some of their weaknesses at Santiago? You think, but also kind of able to take advantage of that as well, or is it
bro.
just?
I'm glad you asked that question because how on earth do you lose? So Bind was one of Gentlemate's best maps at kickoff. They were winning constantly, even when they were winning. So I say constantly. They only played it 3 times, but they were 3-0 on it through kickoff. They didn't play the most games in the world, but it was clearly a very good map for them. They came in being super confident on it. Even when they were winning, though, they still only had a 42% win rate on defense. So it was actually being carried pretty hard by their attack side. And then they lose to AG. Did they not watch the game? Did they not review that game at all? They got dominated by leaving front A site completely open with a doormat there saying, welcome, come on in, have the site for free. We won't spam you. We won't run any plant denial. We'll just play full retake from back site. And then they go in, like I said, never VOD reviewed it by the look of things. Go into the next game, get battered the exact same fucking way. What are they doing? They lost 7 rounds in a row, most of them to the exact same problem on Bind that they had in their AG game. You lost to a team from China, and now you lost to a team the TMV's being paid by. Surely these are alarm bells. Surely alarm bells are ringing. They're like, oh, but in theory, though, the way that you framed the question, Chober, is, could FUT have looked at like how Gentlemates lost? And I'm thinking, well, no, it should work the other way around. In theory, it should work like Gentlemates look at how they lost in Santiago and they don't do the same again. But they just did the same again. Exactly. I was so confused. It was such a bad Bind defense performance. It was like, just we were stuck in the same thing over and over. And then it didn't even make the difference because they also just pooed everywhere on Haven.
Yeah, the Haven was bad. But I think this is like and it comes back to a little bit to like what we're saying with Vitality. When these changes happen, especially when you go to like internationals and you have less time, like all of their forward is just so focused on, shit, what on earth do we do now? Martin isn't on Yoru. And so you're thinking so heavy of like fixing all of that there's a legit chance they didn't VOD review. Like, and
maybe,
they would
if they just started from the beginning again, thinking that all of the comp stuff is different.
If that's where your focus is. I personally, I believe that they would have VOD reviewed, but I can understand a situation where they're like, guys, we got 10 days to redo 7 maps. Like, that is, you're limited.
I'm just amazed at how much, I mean, look at them giving the entire site. And they have no info, so they don't know where a lurker is, so they're worried about every corner here as well. They're planning to run, like, a retake setup here, but their positioning is brutal on these A defenses.
Yeah.
When have you seen a team play it like this? What are they sniffing?
To not really giving them credit, but I guess a little bit of an excuse. I think we can all agree, though, that Mates is definitely like top of the list in terms of getting hit by the Euro nerf, right? Like they were heavy,
they're really
reliant.
Of course.
Yeah, on the Euro. So, we'll give them time. Maybe FUT just got a little lucky with the timing in week 1. We'll find out.
I mean, FUT looked good.
Yeah, no, I think they looked good. Personally, I was excited for them because I liked FUT before, like being that team that you could always rely on to at least get your internationals and have that firepower and things like that. Obviously, very different roster now. I mean, I agree with Sideshow. It's a bit of a shame that TMV also has to be happy at the same time. But it is nice to see. Hey, it's not my fault, TMV, that I saw a clip of you. Just
Look, you're
being
at the
most
top now,
miserable-
buddy.
No,
You don't
hold
need
on,
to
hold on.
punch down.
Yeah,
you're at the
that's
very
true.
top.
You were
Yeah,
the
that's
most
true.
miserable human on the earth just because I was even getting to the top. I wasn't even at the top yet. We made it to Santiago and you were just there, just brooding over my joy. That was insane.
Real
But anyway.
real fans believe even when their team is utter dog, like me with
Yeah.
Karmine Corp.
Yeah, Foot didn't win a game until this game. Did I pick him for this game? Yes.
No,
True.
that's based of
That's-
you.
that-
Yeah.
That's belief.
True. Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
It came
we'll
through.
give you
The
credit.
problem for
It was
mates
good.
though is you're saying like, oh, it's fine. They got some time. I mean, okay, they played KC. They got a bit fortunate, I think, that they played KC this week because KC obviously didn't look great. But like this group, the group that they're in, like it could go
Yeah.
a lot of different ways. This is a very
It's-
there like you might argue that KC is the easy game, but apart from that, like
You can't put a foot wrong.
Brilliant. It's a cool group.
it's an
Lord.
early show,
Yes.
unfortunately. It's an early
Yeah.
end today.
To move on swiftly, it is an
Yeah.
awesome group. It's like really really open. And then
Yeah.
last positive with Foot is, I even like their PAL, and they lost PAL, and this is an EMEA team. Like I'll
Wow.
come back and I'll be like, oh, they lost because they're crap on this map. But I looked at this, I was like, I think they got a pretty good PAL as well. So even the map that they lost looked decent. So I think all round Foot are looking nice.
All right.
Dude,
All
this is a
right,
sick group.
everybody.
Who wins this group? Who's the
It
bottom
is
two in
very
this
tight.
group?
It's
It is
very
weird
tight.
to call, isn't it?
I mean, we
Let's
can
see,
talk about it as
God,
we go to the next
God.
match as well because I think that's what helps make
It could be a team that was in this match, bottom two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Navi versus Team Heretics.
Navi.
I mean, this was. I mean, I think there were a lot of interesting things about this game, not just the result, but also obviously the comps that both teams were playing, the way they were playing it, how close things got going all the way to that third map. But where are we with these two teams, Sliggy? How are you feeling about either
mean,
of them?
it's-
You can start.
It's not great to lose to a stand-in, I'll say that much. If you wanted a game to kick-start off your stage one and you were maybe lacking confidence, to lose to a stand-in is going to completely demolish your confidence. So this is a really rough one. Like really, really rough for Heretics. It is. And I kind of liked their approach as well. I felt like their approach was good in terms of the comps. And I actually don't think their comps are bad. I think this is probably like what the best they can do with the roster that they have. But my thing that's worrying is like man advantages. How are they losing some of these? Like how are they losing they've got so many man advantages where it's like, well, they've won this round, and then you're like, wait, how the hell is it? Even the rounds where they won the clutches, I was like, how did it even get to this stage where it's like a 1v1 or a 1v2? So I don't mind the comps. I think they got a good route here. It's just, dude, some of the fundamental stuff or just playing together needs to be a lot better. Which is which round is this, man? Lotus.
This is
is
the
so
1v5, I
stacked. This is
think.
the 1v5. Do you know what's
Yeah.
mad about this?
Dude.
2 rounds before, my guy does incredible mid rounding, and then he comes out. He pulls a 1v5, which is insane, by the way, on a debut, and he's IGL. And then the next round, he does a 1v4. He had 4 rounds that he won from 2 mid rounding and then 2 from insane individual plays. We
You'll
never see 1v4
this again.
Never 1v5 into 1v4.
The best part was the
Never.
interview afterwards where he said, "Yep, my team were just putting me in a good position."
Yeah, they all
Yeah,
die.
they all die.
1v4.
No, it was an incredible showing from Chloric. I was happy with how Chloric was playing. Map 1, where he went -6, 8, and 14. And I was like, I love the way that this guy's calling. I love the way that he's like jumping his teammtes into fights. Like
Yeah.
he is actually willing to be aggressive on the team, even though he's playing Sova, but aggressive in a way that always plays in a like teammate who is, a Ruxic or a hero or something who's like amazing in a clutch scenario. So I was like, this is great. Like, even if you never had seen the Lotus exceptional performance, I was already on board with Chloric. I was like, this guy is going to be a really nice addition to hero. And then he does this, and it's like, well, fuck it, hell. If he's
Yeah.
going to give you God moments, North America better than EMEA again. Just keep pulling up NA Challengers players, guys.
Yeah.
Port them over.
It is mad, isn't it? It's an exciting time for Navi though as well, because I feel like, is it Kolosha?
Kalosha, yeah.
He's struggling a little bit for sure, but I do like the fact in terms of positives, there was like 2 big rounds on bind that he really like stepped up as well. But dude, when this team gets exit back in, are they not going to be awesome? Like I
No,
feel like
they are. I was
guess you
trying
could.
to explain this on my stream, and unfortunately, because TMV and Shio love just needling me, they kept trying to turn it into me ragging on Kolosha. They're like, "Why are you being so mean to the guy when he's just coming in for the first time?" But when you look at how he's playing, you can only go up with exit. Like, he's -5 on both of the first two maps in first kill to first death. He's really beefing his entries and some of the moments that he should be getting wins. And I'm okay with that. He's a sub. He's a new player. He's got a lot of nerves. That is completely and utterly fine if you play like that. But what it does mean is when exit comes in, you should be expecting like way more from this team. Because what you were saying, Sliggy, with the amount of minus player situations that Navi got themselves into, like, yeah, because Kolosha went -11. But he was sending it the way that his team wanted him to send it. He's not playing like stupid, brainless entries. He was sometimes misplaying his like pathing or entry or like the success he was having. But generally, he's doing what Navi want him to do, which means that when exit comes in, you're expecting him to play a little bit similar, still give Navi the same openings, but actually do a bit better in terms of the numbers. And I think that's just going to be great for Navi.
I think all of that would have sounded great if you didn't lead with the line, "You can only go up from here." I think that's where
you can!
comes in.
It's true, though. Yeah, I got to back him. I don't like shitting on players, but I think he had a rough one. But at the same time, he is doing his role.
Yeah, he is.
Yes,
And credit to the guy. Like, they were really kind to him afterwards in the interview. I can't remember exactly who did the interview. Was it Philu, I think? Because he was saying that he had gone and done VOD review with him on some of the like entry pathing and stuff. And Philu was like, you know, huge props to this guy. He's so good to play with. Such a young guy, has just come in, done everything that we've asked of him. And it's like, yeah, that is the perfect sub. It doesn't matter what the numbers are. The numbers just tell you that exit's gonna do better.
Yeah. Also, speaking of Philu, like that's a nice change putting him on the chamber. Looks so comfy with an op. I didn't realize he was this good with an op. He's really comfy with it. So it's a nice change.
You guys like the direction, both teams leaning heavy on the chamber, right? Chamber on all maps, mostly double controller, partly because of the maps they're playing. But I mean, Heretics obviously doubled down on the double controller with the Harbor.
I like the direction of Heretics. I think it's going to take a little bit of time, but I think this is what they have to do personally. I wouldn't look at this and think this is comp stuff. I think this is more just like how they're playing certain situations personally.
What about the Lotus Harbor? Because that one's the more unusual one, right? Like having a double controller and running like on Pearl and running the Harbor. Okay, I can get behind that. The Lotus Harbor is a little bit stranger, but also you are running a Senti that, you know, it's not because most people, if they were running this, would be running like a Viper or a Vice to try to give you some heavy lockdown of an area, but their composition doesn't really do that. It's more about getting the chamber posted in angle.
But I don't mind it because a lot of teams, like a lot of times on Lotus, you have to play retake anyway. Are you worried about it on defense or attack? Defense.
Yeah, defense.
I would
Defense,
be.
pretty much.
Oh, see, I would be worried on the attack, and I say this as a Harbor Glazer. Like, I like that they're playing Harbor as much as they can, and I think it's fine. But I think Lotus is one of those where it's like, but the Viper just gives you so much more to work with on attack, right? Just the pressure alone. On the A side,
I can get on board with that. I think that if you're running a chamber, I think the setup from the Harbor can be nice as well, though. So
Yeah.
I think the bigger problem is what we talked about at the start. They went +8 in first kills, first deaths on a map that they lost 13-9. This game was pretty scrappy and chaotic. Obviously, we saw the 1v5, 1v4, but there was a ton of other rounds and moments like that where it was whoever. It's a 3v2 for a team. Well, who is guaranteed to win. I mean, even NAVI did it a little bit, but especially Heretics, like there was so many of those situations that were lost.
I was looking at the stats when you guys were talking, and it's not just that. They also had 9 clutches in this entire series.
That's what I was going to say. Go to performance, cut. It's crazy.
It's insane.
The only clutches that Navi won are the 1v4 and the 1v5.
Yeah. Boo was actually playing like a clutch warrior himself. And he had a lot of big moments. It was a really strange game. It definitely felt scrappy. But one of the things, I like the direction with Woot being the primary duelist for the team. Because I think, I mean, you've seen it before that he can play that, right? Like we've seen it at Shanghai. He normally, since then, though, has been playing the secondary duelist where he's the like second guy who just cleans up everything. and that he didn't really seem that comfortable playing the agents that was good at in kickoff, and he ended up being a little bit too passive as well, I think. Whereas now you get him on that entry, he's forced to play aggressively. I think in theory, if you give him a while, Woot should be really good on that, and Comeback gets the scope too. The player I thought looked most uncomfortable in an unusual way was Rienz. Like, Rienz was not having his nice moments. He was also getting caught out in bad positions quite often. And I don't really know why. Like, I've never thought of him as, obviously he usually plays more Scan Initiator, but I've never thought of him as being like a bad Sky player. I don't know whether I just can't remember some of his previous Sky games or something.
Yeah, I mean, just on a stats check, his stats are incredibly worse on Sky in comparison to his Sova, like over multiple games. So it's
maybe it
something
is
we
just
just
a thing.
haven't picked up.
Yeah,
they could try and lean a little bit more into the scan. But then again, I don't know how reliant they feel like they are on flashes. I will say the one thing with the change, which I'm like also like liking it, especially when it's just Woot and Comeback, is if you consider the Comeback's English, from what they've kind of said in interviews, isn't good at all. Like, your entry duelist has to have good comms. So you have to know when to go. You have to call what you're doing, your pathing, and then what you're seeing, like around you. So if you have someone that can't speak English properly, and you've got 4 things that they have to communicate, that's not good. So putting him on a chamber where he literally just you go, mate. You go in here,
walk over there.
Yeah, you go get a kill, and then when they come at you, you shout us, and we'll come back. You TP away. Like, that's a lot. That's one thing instead of the 4 initial things that he would have had to have done, especially like coordinating a stun as well. So I think just on the English speaking thing as well. I don't know how he's coming along with English, but it's dude, putting him on that role before in kickoff must have been really hard for him and just the team in general, because I can't imagine what the comms. I can't imagine they were good. Or someone's got like comm for him. It can't be good.
That's tough. Yeah. Well, we'll see. The direction looks good. We'll see if they'll able to get back into the form that we're used to seeing from Heretics. But overall, very exciting times for NAVI, and that's why we said this group things could get quite interesting. All right, that leaves one last match: BBL versus PCIFIC Esports. One that I think you would have expected to be even quicker than it was. It was a 2-0, but got a little close. I completely missed this one, but fill me in.
Bro, they got away with it. They got away with it in this game. BBL, yeah. I really feel like they did. Like, if you... Yes, this looks like... It's a 2-0 on paper, and maybe even the second map looks like they... On paper, might look like they easily handled them.
The start of the game,
sweating.
Well, they started off and they were dominating.
They did,
but then after like 5 rounds or whatever, as soon as PCIFIC won 1 round, it was like, holy fuck, we are locked in.
Dude, it was like a mental block, because I was like watching multiple POVs, and I'm like, oh, there's such an aim diff right now. Like every single duel, I was just like, they're just
first 5 rounds, you're like, this is a 13-0.
Yeah, it was like they can't actually kill him, and then they kind of got that belief where they killed him in 1 round. They're like, oh shit, we can shoot back, we can do this, dude. If they start anywhere better, just aim wise, I really strongly think they at least win split. I'm not saying for the other map, but it's dude, I came feeling okay about PCIFIC, just insanely slow start for them. I don't know, man. I thought BBL would struggle, but I didn't. It was a struggle. I agree with what Sacha said. They got away with it. It doesn't. You kind of look at it and you're thinking, oh, it wasn't that bad, but you actually look at that split, like that's a struggle.
Yeah,
it was
even
a struggle.
Breeze, I think at times felt like they were getting away with it, but you know, they pulled out some like monster rounds towards the end of it to start properly coming back in. I'm not sure about the direction of this team. This is another team I think that gets heavily hit by the Yoru nerfs, the BBL.
Yeah,
but in a way that they should have been able to adapt to. Because LaRock does not have a history of just being a duelist, right? Like, actually, the thing that you associate LaRock with more is that he's an aggressive and very frag-heavy, like, flex player. That's what he made his name doing.
Yeah.
But the Neon is not... The Neon for the last, like, all of this year, every time I've watched LaRock on the Neon, it has not been hitting. I don't know exactly why, but he just... seems to have way less impact and I suppose like confidence in terms of how he's playing it.
It's kind of crazy. If you go on LaRock's like VLR all time, I mean, his most played agent is Breach, which is kind of, probably would shock some people. But like, if you just look like, apart from Jet, of like the duelists that he's played a decent amount, like his Jet rating is insane, right? But then his Neon and Waylay ratings, like, if you just go all time, like Breach good, KO good, Neon struggle,
But his
Gecko good, Ray's good,
his
Phoenix
Raze
good,
is super good. Yeah.
yeah, Waylay struggle, and then like everything else good. So I think there definitely is something to that like maybe he struggles on Neon more so than perhaps other roles.
I mean, just from that alone, though, it does feel like it's when your agent's primary goal isn't fragging, right? Like Neon and Waylay, yes, obviously if you're good, like you're taking over the entire server, but your primary goal really is like space creation and kind of manipulating the battle that you're about to get into. Whereas Raze, sure, you can space creating and die, but you are fragging. Like that's the whole point of Raze. I mean, it's the same thing with Phoenix. It's the same thing with Jet. So it could be just that mindset switch that he struggles with a little bit.
I mean, the thing is, though, too, we're talking about him playing, Waylay and maybe struggling with that a little bit, but that was where they used to play that on Abyss, and I felt like his impact was actually really good on that map. They played it unusually, and he didn't take over the game to the same degree, but I think, to me, it's the Neon that's a big outlier, and I don't understand why. Like, if your theory was true, he's a great flex player, and like, the Breach and the KO's main job is not to run around getting kills either. And he still manages to juggle those really effectively when he plays them.
Sure.
It just feels a bit unusual the way that he can't find the value on that pick. But it means that, like on Breeze, the best thing for them to do is to put him on KO and put Lover's Rock on Jet. And I mean, we saw some exceptionally good rounds from LaRock playing the KO. And so that part, you're not bothered by. But the win condition for BBL playing Breeze before was LaRock just gets to run around and delete people on Jet. Like, the Jet impact was astonishing. And now you get LaRock doing some of that on KO, and you get Lover's Rock still being able to op because he plays the Jet. But you do miss out on your primary win condition, which was, holy shit, LaRock is unleashed on Jet and just gets to delete everybody and win the game single-handedly.
Sure. I also view a big part of their win condition is like outlaw abuse as well, and I don't think they can do that as much with Lover's Rock being off of the Yoru as well. So I do think they've been hit a little bit hard with that, especially. I don't know if it's just like a pure comfort thing, but when he was he played Waylay on split, right, and he was like over towards vents loads just missing shots, I was just like, man, he's missing so much, and I just know you put the Yoru hands in front of him, I know he's hitting that shot. So I don't know, maybe it was just an off day for him, but I'm a little bit worried for this team where this was like the team that, if you're talking about like outlaw usage, they are the best at using outlaw, and I didn't really see it. And normally when they win pistols, they're just so good at snowballing because of that. And now I'm not sure Lover's Rock is gonna have as easy time, because I'm not saying he's stat padded, because obviously like on Yoru it's like good to get all the ecos and stuff like that and get your ult and snowball like so heavy, but I don't know, him not being in that position to be able to do it, and I think they got bailed out a little bit because they had the Breeze and he could be on the Jet. I'm just worried for them on other maps, because I think that his impact is going to be nowhere near what it was in Kickoff, just purely because of the agent change then leading into the role change, where he can't do some of the stuff where he's just like, I'll walk down here and TP out if they're here. Like, if not, I'm going to tap 2 with an outlaw kind of vibe. So
Lover's Rock
a bit worried for them.
Lover's Rock playing Chamber and LaRock being able to play the duelist, a bit like we were just talking about with the other teams that we saw, Navi and Team Heretics. I'd be really interested in that too, but it only works on certain maps where Kreven wasn't planning to play Sentinel anyway. Like, it has to be on a double controller map, basically, where he's going to play the Viper. But you definitely could do that. But
I mean, we'll see. Obviously, they also were at Santiago, so maybe still a little bit of tooling that they need to go through in the coming weeks. Before we move on, though, obviously we talked a lot about kind of the PBL side. Obviously, they were kind of a highlight at Santiago as well. Pacific, you guys said, once they kind of clicked, it started going well. Obviously, the group looks pretty tough, but are you expecting like, oh, it should still be a pretty decent, it could be a decent stage for them, even if they're not necessarily making playoffs? Like, they could have some close games against the top dogs here?
Unfortunately, they are screwed.
Yeah, I was gonna go for a nicer version where I feel it's like there's a lot of 1-2s in their direction, where like they're gonna win some maps. But I think ultimately I'm not sure they're gonna get top 4, but I can see them upset maybe 1-2-1 in there, but a majority of like 1-2s.
It's just difficult
Okay.
because the group that they're in also has Eternal Fire as one of those other teams. So like
Yes.
you were hoping that one of those, like if you're one of those teams, you're thinking, well, if we can play well and they play shit, yeah, we make it to playoffs. But Eternal Fire also looked really quite nice. So
Yeah.
it's only Giants in that group so far that looked bad, and the other teams
Right.
looked like they had something going for them. So
They're
it'll be
definitely the two
very
games.
difficult.
They're the two games that like they need to be hyped up for. Eternal Fire
Right.
and GIANTX.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that's-
Those are like your
they're-
biggest hopes.
They're the ones. But yeah, after watching the first week, Eternal Fire looked good. So
All right. Well, it's time to find out what we actually think is going to happen. Those were all the games in week 1. We have week 2 coming up. And just as a reminder, as we talked about earlier, this is where EMEA will start playing with the Waylay patch as well. Before we go in, we of course have to check in to see how our little Timmies did in the very first
little
week.
Timmies.
Yeah, the report card here in stage 1. You know, spring's come back around.
What was
Liquid
this
versus
sideshow?
KC.
Yeah, this was
Yeah.
Team Liquid, unfortunately.
Hmm.
Yeah, but what is it? What is
16%.
it though?
What is it?
Or what
Oh,
was it?
fucking- A correct decision?
What's it say at the top?
EMEA match of the week. Oh yeah, match of the week. Yeah, no,
There we
sorry,
go.
I'd given up on that bit already, but TMG's desperately trying to bring it back. It was a bad match of the week as well.
Terrible
gotta be honest.
choice for match of the week.
Yeah,
Terrible choice.
didn't exactly deliver. Hopefully this week things are a little different. Let's
This
go
one's
through.
match of the week. Good game. Very good game.
Yes. Yeah, there
Amazing.
were a couple options, I think, but it wasn't the first one. The first one we're going to be checking our predictions on is going to be PCIFIC Esports versus GIANTX.
Oh no.
Oh, this is a horrible prediction.
No.
For those
What
listening,
on earth?
little guarantee for GIANTX.
Oh, that's disgustingly bad from us.
yeah, that's a pretty bad one.
I mean, I would say the only reason, the reason that I went with Giants is because GIANTX historically have been better than Pacific have,
Right.
and they played against an opponent that looked more in form, I guess, because BBL were, like they looked a little shakier maybe than you'd say Vitality was. But in terms of like, if you had just watched the two teams that are playing, there is good reason to think Pacific actually looked better than GIANTX. this
Yeah,
week.
yeah. I would say
Yeah.
it's a 50-50, and I still think that I'm biased just because of past of what I've seen from Giants. Yeah, I don't know, man. This isn't great.
Oh man,
This
I
is
thought
all
one of
just
you would do it,
because everyone is just doing this because of their reputation, like just because they
Little
have a
bit.
decent
Yeah.
standing. Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
that's what I
Little
did. Yeah.
Mm.
I mean, the player
Okay.
quality is like a little bit better, I guess, but it's not even that much better.
Yeah. Well, good thing
If like,
Kurt.
if Seven and Cena play well.
Yeah, good thing Kurt titled this week. We have perfect picks because maybe it's not going to last anymore after this match
No.
immediately. All right. Well, nice little guarantee to start things off with. I guess if you're interested in potential upsets, this is one to be looking at. All right. Let's move right along to the next one. This one I am curious. BBL versus Eternal Fire.
Oh. Did we
Oh,
go? Thank God for
Chobra.
Chobra.
Oh, thank
Right.
God, Chobra.
Yeah. Yeah,
We
so
could have
I
some
picked Eternal
stinkers there.
Fire. Yeah, you all picked BBL. I mean, this is one of the matches I did watch was the Eternal Fire versus FNATIC, and just literally the way they were fighting, right? The way they were shooting, their quality itself individually and things like that, I thought was so impressive that I think they could, especially with what we just talked about, BBL perhaps still trying to rediscover their identity a little bit. They find someone who actually really pushes back hard from the beginning. They could crumble. They
could. I also
Yeah,
think
yeah.
that these Eternal Fire players will be. I mean, both of these teams will be extremely hyped to play against each other because they never
Yeah.
got to play in EMEA. EMEA had a horrible Ascension format where the two teams that ascended didn't get to play against each other at any point. I mean, in Pacific, they didn't play against each other either, but that was more,
Yeah.
because of how the bracket just happened to play out. EMEA was a format issue. But, bro, the ULF players who are now Eternal Fire, especially, having seen the other Ascension team go to Santiago, be the
Yeah.
best team of EMEA, I think they, more than anyone, are going to be fired up in this match. Echo, especially, should be, like, willing to go out there and take names.
Yeah, they're going to have
Mhm.
so much belief. They really are. I'm
All
glad
right.
we didn't guarantee this. It feels
yeah.
like a-
That's the
feels
thing,
like
Troy.
a-
You didn't even need to explain yourself. 'Cause the fact that we
Yeah,
were all like,
yeah.
"Thank God you picked Eternal Fire," I think shows that we're not that confident in BBL.
I just
Eternal
love that
Fire
we
could
have
easily
three
win this
people-
game.
Yeah, that voted BBL, and you're just all like, thank God we didn't do it.
exactly.
But
Yeah.
this goes to show what could possibly happen in this one. All right, two matches that we didn't want to guarantee, but now it's the big match. What is it, Sideshow?
Match of the week.
Thank you. Of EMEA coming up in week 2. It is FNATIC versus Vitality.
Ooh, okay, nice split.
All right.
good
Half
split.
and half. Okay. TMV, you want to kick us off with the FNATIC side of things?
If anyone claims to 100% know which way this game's going to go, I think you're smoking something. I think FNATIC have shown, like, what did Vitality ban? I didn't check that. If they banned Lotus, then maybe I'm in trouble. But if they didn't, then I think we're fine. Because I think they didn't. They banned Fracture. That's good. Boring. Everyone bans Fracture. Boring. So FNATIC, I think, can play Lotus, and I would feel confident already that their Lotus is to a standard that I feel like they can beat. I mean, I know Vitality will have a VOD on it, and Crashies actually said they were, disappointed they had to show their Lotus, perhaps because, they were thinking they could, for instance, pull out in this game and, not have shown anything and have that advantage. But if he's disappointed that they had to show their Lotus, I think it's they know already that their Lotus is good. And I think so that's a map that I think they could pick and then they can win. And then from there, I think it's just, it's going to be close, but I just kind of have more faith long term, I guess, in FNATIC, because just historically, that's who they've been. It wouldn't shock me. Obviously, it's going to be a very interesting game with Chronicle against FNATIC, Dirk obviously as well. Like, it's going to be even Sayonara. Like, it's a big kind of rivalry game, you might say, in one sense. So hopefully it's a banger, but I long term have more faith in FNATIC, I guess. And then that's coming around to this game.
I think that's a really interesting point, though, because this game, I'm so glad it's week 2, because it's almost certainly going to happen in playoffs as well, and it's going to be completely different. Like the level of development and growth that both of these teams have. I mean, I was talking about Vitality's defense side being a little weak, and I want them to try to shore it up. And I think that that'll really get pressured by FNATIC's calling, because Boaster's calling is great and even was in their weaker maps really still strong on the attack side on Breeze. But FNATIC also, because they're playing a newer style where they're doing more fast-paced hits, more set ideas, like that is going to get naturally better as we approach playoffs. So it's so sick that we get to see a preview here of what we're expecting to be a really big playoff match later on down the road, rather than it being in like week 5 and then 2 weeks later.
Yeah, that's actually true. Yeah, the break in between is actually pretty cool. It should be a close one, man. It's probably third map. I agree with TMV. They probably win Lotus. I would imagine Vitality pick Breeze after what they've seen. And then you would imagine it goes third map. It's a close game.
Do you think they're hiding a Fracture, Vitality?
Maybe, but you wouldn't show it against FNATIC. I don't think, because FNATIC historically also likes this
very
map.
good. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true. Yeah.
He does like Fracture Lotus.
Are the Vitality people, what's pushing you over like 51-49 towards Vitality? Is it just the individuals, or
For Vitality?
yeah?
The extra little thing is Yampi's using my mouse mat. It's undefeated.
Oh,
Undefeated in VCT. You gotta back your own peripherals.
He was.
Yeah,
He had some crackhead energy in that game, though, as well, Sliggy.
Yeah,
I was praising Yampi so much last year for like settling down and being a really solid player again. And I was watching him in this game, and I'm like, bro, you're back to sending it. He was so Sliggy. Sliggy used to be. Yampi used to be one of my favorite players to watch. Never watched Sliggy play, unfortunately. But would have loved to. But Yampi used to be one of my favorite players because he was like an Angel Nobody-esque character who would just great player, obviously, but would throw in some lunatic behavior occasionally. And I was getting a little glimmer of that again in the game against GIANTX. I think your mousepad's infected him.
Yeah, he looks down, he sees the slug, he's like, by the judge, send it. What would he say to me right now? By the judge and send it, man.
Yeah.
All right. Well, should be an interesting one. Yeah, I was mostly with TMV in terms of just like the long-term belief as well. So we'll see, half and half. Again, for anyone watching and listening, this is the match of the week for EMEA, so make sure you go put your votes in the community tab as well once the live show is over. All right, we still got 3 more matches to go, though, in week 2, and the very next one is going to be Team Liquid versus Team Heretics.
Wow.
Okay.
Ooh,
I'm
half and half
shocked.
again. You're shocked. So for those
I'm shocked that
listening,
someone
it's-
else picked Team Heretics
Oh,
because
you
I
thought you were
just
gonna be the
did.
solo?
I barely believe.
Yeah. No, I gotta
My
be
own
honest.
Choice.
I also barely believe.
But what made you hold on to that belief, Sideshow?
Well, one of the reasons is I think Karmine Corp played so shite that actually Liquid might not have had to win that game. They just had to sit there and wait for KC to lose it. Whereas I actually think, yes, you could make the opposite argument and say, well, Heretics lost to Navi with a fucking sub. What the hell were they doing? And the match was scrappy and chaotic and stuff. But I actually think that Navi's quality of what they were doing, of the some of the insane moments as well, but like player quality, idea quality, I think was higher in the Navi Heretics game than it was in the Liquid K-Corp game. So some of this is just trying to like vaguely compare a match to another match and feel like, you know, what was the strength of these teams looking like, ignoring who won or who lost. And I think that maybe next week, like, you'll get a slightly better performance from Woot and it might make a difference. I don't know. Bros clutching at straws.
My
Yeah.
straw clutching comes from almost a cosmic sense. This group will be chaotic, and therefore, for it to be chaotic, Team Heretics must win this game to ensue the chaos. Otherwise, we end up with, oh no, it's not looking good for Heretics, it's looking good for Liquid. And that can't happen in this group, because none of the teams in this group can be consistent,
Well,
All right.
apart from FUT.
Nice. Saved your contract. Good to see. Sliggy, belief in Liquid?
my main belief is just if they got their breeze, one of their
The
worst
better
maps.
team will
sorry.
look better.
Yeah, basically. So if they got their Pearl looking this good, ready enough to pick it straight after, they've already been playing this meta, so they don't need to change too much. They can copy paste some of their theories. I just think they're in a good spot in the international. Shouldn't have taken away too much time. It might have actually helped them because essentially they were playing the right stuff.
Yeah.
So I just picking Pearl and looking good on it, and that was, in my opinion, their worst map.
The
I
bar
think
was
it's a
pretty
great
low
sign.
though. Just so we're
Sure.
clear. Yeah.
Yeah, trust
Yeah.
me, the bar is low, but
Yeah.
Specifically, Sliggy said they had an A default and a B default.
yeah, dude, some people in EMEA don't have that, bro. Dude, EMEA Pearl is crazy. If you actually watch it in 2 years, like everyone just goes middle and they're like, why can't I 5-person push out of this small choke? It's like fucking sides exist on this map and they're everything. It kills me. So when I see an A default, I'm like, oh shit, they sussed it. And then like they maybe do a fake smoke over towards B, and I'm like, damn, dude, we're out here, man. We're out here we're getting it. So yeah, it's just the Pearl faith, man.
All right. Yeah. No, I for me, it's also just, it seems like they found a pretty quick adjustment, right? With the Euro being gone, they're not hit too hard by it. They found their own groove anyway. Like you said, Sliggy, good adjustments from Santiago. So I believe that. But I just want to put it on record. I do like the direction that Heretics is going better, like with the chamber and the harbor and all that. But we'll see.
It's
We'll
a
see
good
whichever
change.
one pays
Yeah.
off. Yeah. Half
It should
and
be
half
close.
yet again. It should be close. Hopefully.
Should
Hopefully it's a
be.
good 2-1.
Should be.
Should be.
Should be.
All right. Next up, it is going to be another one from this group, PCIFIC Esports versus NAVI.
Oh.
Hello.
It's not it.
Well,
Is
Had to
this
throw a
not
curveball
little
for you
risky?
guys.
Thank you for the curveball.
Thank you.
Gentlemates versus KC, guaranteed.
You
for
guys
mates.
seem kind of chill with it.
I don't like either of these teams and what they were doing, to be honest with you. Like, I think that this is match of the week in terms of the like opposite. What would you put? Like, it's the toilet bowl of this week, I guess.
Okay.
You got the Super Bowl of this week is FNATIC Vitality. The toilet bowl is Gentlemates versus Karmine Corp. The French toilet bowl as well, Le Toilette Bowl, if we want to put it like that. But they're both circling the drain in terms of their ideas at the moment. I'm really disappointed with the way that mates are approaching some of their maps. I mean, the bind one in particular is driving me nuts. But I think mates are closer to finding a solution because at least their like overarching philosophy of Martin's mostly, by the look of it, going to be playing Phoenix, a bit like what Camo is doing. He played one map of Waylay, 2 maps of Phoenix. Phoenix looked better, by the way, so if they are going to look back and adjust things off map 1, I think going more in the Phoenix direction, I'm okay with that. And I just think KC look, again, kind of like they're not talking to each other in a lot of their situations. Like, the team synergy is just almost non-existent for this squad. I don't know.
No.
I'm not a fan.
Sure.
Well,
Yeah.
no, I am a fan, but I'm not.
Well, yeah.
Yeah,
You're
and
not a
I
fan
do
of what they're
believe,
doing.
but I'm
You're
not
a fan
predicting.
of the team. Yeah. You're a fan of the team, but not what they're doing. Yes.
Yeah.
Good save. Good
Mm.
save.
Yeah.
Anyone else got any
There are
other strong reasons?
General made
'Cause-
start 1-0 because of Pal.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I think we're just in agreement that
Yeah.
one team is worse than the other. All right. Well, let's go back to the last remaining match. It is going to be Foot Esports versus NAVI.
Oh, let's
Oh,
go!
really?
The
Two
believers!
for
We're
believers.
getting them.
Okay.
Everyone can come join. Sliggy, you can come join my train now. Come.
I see, okay.
Surely it's a
Yeah.
march. If they're foot, it's got to be based on
Yeah,
you know,
sure.
Yeah, it has to
pedestrian
be.
travel,
That's
doesn't
true.
it? The
That's
the
true.
long march for foot. It works for Shanghai, actually. The long
Yeah.
march to Shanghai.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Sliggy, what made you convert over to Foot? I guess not necessarily convert, but
It's literally just Navi having the stand-in, though. Like, you give him exit, and I haven't seen anything about him getting his visa yet, so it's
Yeah.
just purely that. I genuinely think that Navi win if he comes in, exit comes in. But
This
until
guy's
then,
getting thrown off the long march already. He's getting left behind.
until then, I'm gonna stick with Foot. Like, they look good enough that they should be beating a team of a stand-in for sure. And I think, especially with the stand-ins, like, in my opinion, struggling a little bit. So that's where I'm at. And again, their poll looked nice. I feel like all 3 of their maps, even the map they lost, look good. That's a good takeaway.
all right. Sideshow, any defense for Navi?
Yeah, I just think Ruxic and Hero look like 2 of the absolute best players in EMEA right now. And if you've got a functioning team system around them, which it looks like they do, even though Kalosha is individually not going to be as good as Exit is probably. And so I agree with that aspect. I just think it's more important that the entire team has an identity and a structure that works and makes sense, because then the rest of the team can pick up the pieces. I'm not expecting Cloric to be pulling out 1v5s and 1v4s all over the place. I'm not saying that. But I am expecting Ruxic and Hero to still be 2 out of 3 of the best players in the server, probably. Like, you know, maybe one player on Foot goes nuts. I'm not exactly sure who it's going to be. You know, Sop didn't really take over, I think. But Sociable did. I'm not expecting Sociable to always be playing like that either. I think that would be pretty crazy if he played anywhere near that, actually.
Revenge
on a
game for
week-by-week
Sociable.
basis.
Yeah, big game for him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true.
Yeah, revenge game. Emotional.
But I also just think like I think that Navi have long term they are going to be better, and the big problem right now is that they're playing with a sub, and they were still able to overcome that last week. So I've got some confidence that they're going to win this game, but it's by no means like sealed up.
TMV, I got to give you a chance. Anything you want to say for Foot?
Should have been a guarantee.
All right. On that note,
Holy.
those are all the matches for EMEA in week 2. Make sure to vote for your own match of the week as well. It's FNATIC versus Vitality. Let us know who you think is going to win over on the community tab over on YouTube. And with that, we can move on to Pacific.
And I will take over the hosting chair now. Although I did watch all of the Pacific games apart from RRQ against
Well.
ZETA, so you'll have to carry me through that one. Sorry, that wasn't intended to shade at you. I just meant that, you know, that's not the reason that I'm taking over. It's because I'm completely clueless.
Clueless.
I do want to start, though, with a team that was fucking clueless. And Achilleos tore them to pieces on the desk already. But Gen.G, oh my God, what a disastrous fall from grace in the last 2 years this has been. I was
your
hoping...
favorite player was back, though.
Yes, and you know what? Not the problem, but not the solution either.
A little bit of the problem.
You can tell me why, but I just thought that Gen.G were going to be like bad at kickoff. I think I said they can't. They're running out of mistakes to make, is what I said, because of how badly they played at kickoff. Oh my God, they looked behind the sofa and found a brand new bunch of them.
It was rough. It was really, really rough. I mean, where do you even start? Well, okay. Since we're starting with Gen.G, we'll try to focus on that first. If I want to throw them a bone, I do think GE kind of targeted Gen.G very well, in that the only thing Gen.G looked like they were good at in kickoff was when they got to play their set plays, right? If you allowed them to do it. So it was like, let's just not allow them to do it, right? Just always fight them, on our terms, and then Gen.G just crumbles, and it happened. I mean, you could pick any round. I mean, you could pick the first attacking round that Gen.G had in the second half as well, and they see brim smokes, and they're like, all right, well, I guess we're just waiting for it because we don't have information anywhere else, because we committed to watching A short in the very beginning at the barrier, so we're just gonna chill until all 3 smokes run out and we only have 20 seconds left. I mean, you see things like that, and it's like somebody. Okay, Locky has the IGL, fine. I don't know how the structure is, but if he's the guy who memorizes the playbook, has some large round-to-round things, that's fine. Somebody else has to be able to just tell everyone else to shut up and make other decisions, because Locky is definitely not doing that when things start to go south in the middle of the round. And until somebody can do that, nobody on this team is going to frag well, because you can see Texture's struggling to try to figure out how he's supposed to carry the round. And I mean, on the Neon, I would say if he can't get an op, he's not really getting that much value, because that's not one of his main agents. And things don't look good.
Yeah. So I woke up late for this because I got owned by VLR.
Yeah,
did the thing. And honestly, I kind of wish I'd just stayed in bed for it, at least if we're focusing on Gen.G. It was bad, man. First of all, I mean, I woke up and it felt like a fever dream, because I was like, what the fuck is Foxy9 playing? Then why is he on smokes? Then, like, if you're bringing him back in, surely you put him on the role that he was playing, and then you free up Karen. Like,
Nah.
I don't understand what they're doing role-wise. And then I'm watching Texture play like a moron. Like he literally...
He took so many bad fights.
Bro, it's like he has no faith in his team, and he's like, well, I've got to go win every single round on my own, so I guess I'm going into this on my own, just taking duels against 2 people. Like, I'm watching him like, dude, he looks like the problem right now, let alone even starting on the other stuff. So I don't know.
Did you get to watch Bind? Like,
I watched this. I watched the second half of Bind.
Right.
But I missed the first. Yeah.
The Gen.G defense, you would lose your mind watching it, because it was the only Yoru that we got to see the entire time in Pacific. In fact, it's the only Yoru at any point, isn't it? Because China also has a 0% pick rate of Yoru.
Yeah.
But the only person to pick Yoru never at one point helped his teammates to get into a position and then TP to the other side of the map with his first gate crash. Every single gate crash was used to get himself into an aggressive angle and then have 15 seconds where he could go backwards. And then the second gate crash was used, at some point, sometimes like when he thought pressure was coming towards him and he guessed correctly, and sometimes he would just throw it out immediately afterwards. But he was never using the Yoru to like help their macro at the beginning of the rounds. And yeah, because I was like, why would you not, when Texture is upping or Texture wants to fight showers, have your Yoru, like Zinx and Texture fight an area, leave Texture posted, or continue for Texture to push out if, you hear something on the other side of the map, and just have that gate crash ready to go on the other side. Like, it's so obvious that if you're going to play new Yoru, you have to play like that now. And
I mean,
not one single round did they do that.
Yeah, that's
it's worse than you say. I went back, because I also missed this map. I went back today and took a look at this to just see what they did with the Yoru. And genuinely, I had to go and check. Zinx was playing Yoru, right? Because this guy, there are multiple moments in this half where he's like smoked off on A, let's say, and like the spike is getting blunted or whatever. He has his flash. I don't know if he's just thinking like, I've only got one now, so I have to preserve it at all times. But he's keeping hold of this thing like it's like it's a fucking relic of Jesus. Like, like you have and he just dry swings through a smoke multiple times when he has a flash, bro. Flash! Like, what situation could you possibly be waiting for? You know you're about to take a fight. You know that they're there because they're making a ton of noise. And he just dry swings through the smokes, dies. And he does that multiple times. So it's not just the TPs. I was losing my mind at like just all of it. It genuinely made me think, like, this guy can't play Yoru. How the I mean, they didn't do well in kickoff, of course, but how the fuck have you ever put this guy on Yoru in the first place?
All of their roles are mad, though. I can't get over the Foxy9 thing. I can't get over it.
Okay, so I've said multiple times that I am pretty sure, which I've never confirmed with them, but that I'm pretty sure that Solo and HSK have a very specific style of, players that they want in each role, notably the Sentinel role, and the easiest way to describe is they want another Meteor. Obviously, you can't get another Meteor, but they want something similar to that where it's someone who has their own good timings, they can make their own decisions, and they have good comms so that they can, relay all the space and information that they're getting. You're asking for a lot. Now, Foxy9 notably couldn't do this, even when he, was performing well in terms of frags. Even when Munchkin was there, they eventually had to switch to kind of revolving around Foxy9, getting to just anchor down and play his own thing on the Sentinel. But I've noticed this with Solo and some of the other players he's worked with in the past as well. And this change all but confirms that, because if you're still bringing in Foxy9 and still not putting him back on Sentinel, surely it must mean that Karan is at least a little more vocal and you think he makes better decisions individually, even though we didn't quite see that in this game, right? So I'm now convinced that that's what it is. And to me, from there on, like, I'm fine if that's what you wanted last year. Like, you tried for it, it didn't work out. But now they have to accept that you're not going to be able to replicate 2024 Gen.G, and you have to work with what you have. You have to just lean into their strengths. If Foxy's good at anchoring, let him anchor, and then have Karan help out texture, and then just, have simpler game plans, right? You can't work the whole map.
It really is fantastic, I think, for all of the other regions in Pacific that aren't Korea, that two of the Korean coaching staffs have an addiction to making roster changes that don't make sense. Like, my strange addictions, rotating the roster that I'm in charge of in nonsensical ways, and they just fucking love it, don't they? Absolutely, they go nuts for it.
I can understand getting rid of Ash, because Ash looked pretty bad. Like, well, just purely on the roll. He looked bad on the roll. No, I agre for sure.
But yeah,
on
this
the
year
Astra,
he was horrible.
One of the worst Astras. Yeah, one of the worst Astras. So I get that. You look at his Astra, you go, okay, but you can't bring in Foxy9, and he then hasn't really played smokes. And then, dude, I get what you're saying, Cho, bro. Like, yeah, sure, you wanna recreate like the old school, but mate, teams would kill for Karan on smokes. Like, you have one of the essential pieces. He's so good at smokes. Breezes back. He could dominate this map for you. I can't get it.
He played. He played badly in this game too. Like, the Viper.
It should be noted that Solo also used to be a Sentinel IGL, so I feel like it all comes together, right? Of like, he has a certain way that he reads the game. He wants other people to be able to read the game that way. He wants his players to be able to read the game that way. But yeah, no, you're all in the right that like Karan and Foxy9 swap, and suddenly things look better.
Let's talk Global, though, because Global actually defined this match maybe even more than Gen.G, falling over, because they played a really unusual comp at the very beginning on Bind. They play a Deadlock counter comp, which I saw a comment that I loved, which was Frost keeps complaining that only half of the agents are playable, but he views it as his divine mission to play the other half of the agents, which I think is really, really fucking funny. But he played a very unusual composition here on Bind. It worked for them. They got the win 13-8. They ended up pushing constantly on defense with their Deadlock comp, like not the way that I anticipated anyone to really be playing this. And then their split, they played the Veto again. And I mean, their split was like, I thought their split was pretty immaculate. Like, they dominated here. This wasn't necessarily just Gen.G falling to pieces.
Some good timing. Some incredible timing.
Oh my god.
I mean, listen, this is why I've got you guys here. You tell me what your thoughts were.
No, I agree that they had some cool stuff. I think that like Udo just looks very nice, man, especially on this raid. He was just farming heavy. I saw the defense half of the bind, and the Deadlock was good because Crystal was like really good with his timing. Like, he wouldn't use his Gravnet. It's just like, it is like I have to hold on to this until it's for sure a side hit. And then every single time he was wrecking them with the Gravnet. So I felt like he did incredible on the Deadlock, and I saw them like fighting heavy to not make sure they could get exec on. So I like that a lot for their like game plan, and their idea on bind was cool. And dude, I mean, just on split, it just looked like a team diff. It just made Gen.G look so uncomfy that I don't even know where to put GE, because I'm like, I think I'm pretty high up on them, but at the same time, sometimes you see shit that is so bad and you can't focus on anything else. that's where I felt like I was just here, maybe it's because of the lack of the wake up that I thought I was going to get 20 minutes extra sleep. I'm still just like, the fuck is Foxy9 on smokes, man? I don't want to watch this.
Yeah, I think GE I think it's still worth putting faith in GE. I think this is the type of thing you want to see, right? You're still seeing the Frost effect of like playing different comps and different agents, and who knows if they'll ever play the same comps again the rest of the stage. But then you're seeing the confidence that you saw from players like Patman and Javi, right, in kickoff, and they're kind of leaning into that. What's interesting about that bind comp is this is also the comp that Javi used to play on Naos when he was IGL. So there's a little comfort there where he probably had his own playbook as well. You retool that. And then you put Patman on Gecko. It allows him to still just kind of frag out whenever he wants. You just send the spike in with Wingman, and then you're good to go. So I like that they leaned into their strengths. And same thing on Split, right? Autumn looked like he was more comfy on just kind of holding those angles with the op and being able to communicate. And Yudo goes in and just creates chaos.
This was the game where after the bind they interviewed Solo, right? And he said that we had the strat book, so we might as well play Yoru, basically. But it's like, mate, you can't be saying that when you're playing up against GE. They make new comps every week and throw the strat book out the window and sometimes never even play the comps. Like, they're the team that prove that you don't have to play the stuff that you've come up with, actually. You can just make new stuff. It just seemed even stupider in comparison to who they're playing. I don't know, man. But G, like, sticking with the positives, G look good. Individually, synergy, like fundamentals, like wise as well. One of the better fundamental teams. They're always trading. They're always together. They're always making plans. It's nice.
Yeah, they're working as a team, and they're just punishing Gen.G and all their weaknesses, right? The inability to adapt and all of that. They just crush them on Split.
This is surely the end of the red light, green light era, though, because next week they're also playing against Team Secret.
Surely.
I mean, we'll predict it later on, but
surely.
I mean,
Surely.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Let's move on to our next game. T1. They played against VARREL. Here's another team that I was hoping would have a bit of a recovery coming out of kickoff, because Gen.G and VARREL both did not have a good start to this year. And I was like, oh, VARREL are going to be back, though. VARREL are going to be back. Trolling.
Started off with some hope.
Well,
started off with some hope.
Yeah, they were back for 12 rounds. They were back for 12 rounds.
Yeah, the first half, first map. It was like, hold on.
Yeah.
And there, it was like, oh shit.
Yeah, Cinder played the best game that he's played in a long time.
Nuts.
He was great. He was great.
Nuts.
Unfortunately, my two duelist players trolling.
Yeah.
Whoa. Not even duelist. Cut. You gotta play me this clip.
Is this from map 2?
This is no map 1.
Oh, map 1.
Map 1. So there's two. I got two clips, but this is the first one. This is on Haven. They just won the pistol. It is the anti-eco. They buy double judges. I have a strict rule on my team because we can have enough discipline that we don't buy judges, because sometimes people go for plays like this, and judge, you either get 1 or you get 3, but a lot of times when you only get the 1, they pick up the judge and then they have the afterplan. What the hell are you doing, my guy? Just get out of there. They can't spam you. They got pistols. You have 2 cages to play around. You both gave them your judges in an afterplan. Like, what are we thinking? This is the one gun that you have to have the discipline. You need to make sure that you can't let them get this gun. He runs through the cage into a potential split fire, like a crossfire when someone's got past him. That's madness. Like, how are we playing like this? They win this. They win this without this. They really do. Like, this is why you don't give them the judge, because how are you meant to retake that?
During my stream, I literally said, they're going to lose this map because of that moment right there.
Yeah.
Like, pretty much as soon as that happened, I just had a very strong feeling that, like, you cannot afford, like, this is the thing. People say, like, pistol rounds are the most important rounds. But losing a second round is the most important thing you can do in terms of, like, losing a game. It is such a massive swing. And to make such a bad decision in such a crucial moment, it's just like... And then they do lose the map, of course, 13-11. I mean, that's to go up 10-4. All they got to do is beat Nico to go up 10-4. Like, they're going to win. Like, you'll be fine. You know, they were playing well enough, even though they weren't all popping off. Like, the team as a whole was playing well enough to have scraped over the line there, even if they didn't have a great half. But that moment, it was so unbelievably bad. And then in map 2, they fall over.
Yeah, map 2,
map
they were
1
just...
second half, though. Like, they didn't just
to be honest, from that moment, it all fell apart.
Yeah.
It
really did.
Yeah, they were kind of boomed for sure. Like, the plays they were making from then on just didn't replicate at all the teamwork they had in the first half, right? It's suddenly a lot of individual trying for hero plays, just kind of all off on islands and things like that. It's really a shame, because regardless of win or lose, after watching the first half, I was like, okay, VARREL at least has identified like what they have to do. They have to stick with certain plans. You lean into it and you go in. If someone's not doing well, they just create space and you'll be okay. And then and then once they fall apart, I mean, it just seems like their mental just crumbles into dust, right? You picked Pearl, and we didn't see a single reason why you would do that, which is not
that's
what
true.
you want to say. Yeah.
Dude, my mental was crushed after that round, to be fair, so I can understand them having a mental crash. I was gone, man. I was absolutely gone. I will say, for sticking to positives, though, T1 has a very nice pearl.
Yes.
Probably the best you can play the chamber
Yeah.
on attack. I would say if EMEA teams do watch this podcast, maybe that's a good demo for you to watch if you want to learn how the map works. Like
Zero
fully.
Double Sentinel being played in EMEA, though. Like, they haven't played
Yeah.
any of that composition at all. Whereas
Yeah.
Pacific teams played it twice, I think. Yeah, twice.
Yeah.
Played
Yeah.
double Senti comps.
They worked it very well. Like their B default where they just insert Izu is just so nice, and he's very good at playing it. Like he stops them from getting free info. He tucks in for like 30 seconds sometimes so they can clear it, and then he late gets kills. So I felt like just watching T1 on this PAL, I wasn't too bothered about VARREL. They could definitely get more info on the sides, but I was just like, this would slap most teams. I felt like this.
The
PAL.
fights they took, though, I'm not sure if you're going to see it in this round, but some of the engagements that Zexy and Klaus are trying to take on the defense side are like, you have a 1% chance of getting a kill here, but they still go for it and just lose. And obviously they lose. And then their stuff. I mean, is this like a...
This is the round that you're talking about, right? Where he goes for the Heaven Peak.
The Heaven Repeat.
Yeah, he goes.
Yeah, he
back
goes,
out.
this. Oh my God, yeah. What on earth are you thinking there? And that's not the only time that it happens. I love that Kurt found the exact round that I was thinking of as well. But like, these are astonishing things to go for. Like, what is your chance of success there? Maybe like a...
But
5% or something? But you have like a 50% chance of dying at least. Like, what are we doing? The EV is just like astonishingly bad on some of these decisions.
Can we just call out Buzz, by the way? Just like just trolling on these guys' bodies when they're clearly just defeated and crushed. And Buzz just goes and sprays their body and just TikToks on them all over. I'm like, guy, come on. Like, they're just trying to find their way in Pacific, man. But anyway,
I mean, not as bad as Devi.
Oh,
we'll get to that.
We'll get to that. But
That's good.
I think if you assume that their mental is crushed, I mean, you just assume that they're not communicating. Everyone's feeling like they need to make hero plays, and that would also make a little bit of sense because they all used to in challengers, right? So it's just this habit of like, well, I can do it too. Like all of us can do it. So I'm just gonna go take out another guy and equalize the numbers. Obviously, that's not the way to play. It's not smart. But it's
I
something you
thought
have
most
to
of their
break out
hero
of.
playing was when we were watching them in Ascension, I felt like they took a lot of risks early round, and then they would like figure out what the state of the game was and make decisions based off that. I felt like they weren't hero playing towards the like middle or end as much.
Yeah, I mean they rarely needed to in Ascension.
Yeah,
right.
that's fair
So
enough.
it's just not a
They were
scenario they're
upskilling
used
everyone.
to. Yeah, but I agree with Sliggy. I think T1 leaning heavy into the chamber, like you love to see that. I don't think we see it enough in Pacific. I think we definitely still have a couple players that could utilize it quite well, and Izu's one of them. And then if they need, right, Meteor comes back as the duelist. That looked fine with the Phoenix, and Buzz still looking good, just being the main dive on that Neon. So I think T1 is promising again, very, very cautiously, to like look forward to towards the end of stage 1.
Yeah, no, I like how they handled the Yoru nerf. To be honest, I think there's other teams. We kind of spoke about it a little bit. Like instead of going for a Phoenix, maybe some teams can go for the chamber on some of these maps.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I messed with it.
Yeah.
The next game, though, we've got to talk about the match of the week that happened. Because like these were some shitey matches that we've talked about so far. But this one was fun. PaperX, Grand Finals rematch against Nongshim. But the Grand Finals of Santiago was like terrible. You know, it was probably it was straight up our worst ever Grand Finals of an event that we've had.
Yeah.
But this one was more like what you would have been expecting a match between these two teams to look like. You know, win or lose in either direction. And it had some nuts moments, fantastic stuff. First time that we got to see Fracture as well being played across EMEA or Pacific, right? And then we ended up seeing quite a bit of Fracture this week. I think let's start here in terms of the way that Nongshim have approached the meta shift. Because Francis was playing Waylay on 2 of the maps and then playing Waylay on 1 of the maps and then playing Initiator on 2 of them. Is that right?
No, two Waylays.
No, two
Two
Waylays.
Two Waylay,
The
one
first
initiated.
Waylay was diabolical, and they are
Mhm.
the opposite of Foot. They need the Waylay nerf to come in now because the Waylay on Split. I mean, it looked like he had never played it and didn't know how to play it, and he didn't know the buttons sometimes. Like sometimes he's doing solo, like one dash when it's like do two.
Yeah,
like,
he was
I
always
mean, there
doing
was
the one dash.
there
Yeah.
was multiple moments where I was like, this guy just doesn't know how to play the agent. And that's fine. The second map wasn't as bad to give like some. The Lotus wasn't as bad, but it also forced them into a comp, which I think you have to be very. They were playing like a no senti Lotus comp, which we did see some of last year, and some teams did find success with it. But I think you have to be very drilled and know what you're doing on defense, which clearly, with not much time to practice, they did not have that and got rolled over on the defense side. They didn't win a single round. So that is something to see how they do going forward. But didn't they say, Chobra, you'll know this, that like they didn't really have time to practice Fracture that much, so they just kind of like finangled a comp that they had seen, and they actually looked pretty good. Like the Fracture, I was pretty happy with.
Yeah, they did say that like it's not something that they tooled much. They kind of just went back to what they used to play. I think they maybe added.
But that was better than the
Cypher
Waylay,
back
which
in, but-
perhaps they have been wanting to go for.
Yeah.
So that's a worry.
Yeah, I mean it worked out that they didn't want to play the Waylay on Fracture, and I mean, listen, I meme about it to Wendler and stuff, but in all objective honesty, we should have also lost the Fracture. The only reason we won that was because every single player on Nongshim had a 1v1 clutch or more. So when
it
all
did
5
feel like
players
Pep Rex
clutch
was another
up,
team.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Can
that's
we watch round
unfortunate.
11? Can we watch round 11? I mean, after this one, obviously, we can watch this one through, but it's where they all die on the rope. And it's...
Oh,
Yeah.
Can we not, dude? I was so like, I saw Domby and I was like, I was malding, but in my head I'm like, well, Domby just does that. Like, that's fine. He'll get info and everyone will calm down. And I see that Domby's about to die, and I'm like, okay, I accept that as fact. And then I see 2 more bodies on the rope, and I'm like, who in RB? Who told you? You're the IGL. Why are you on the rope? Nobody said it was fine. You have 0 information on the other side of the map. Oh my.
But is this not every other EMEA team's Pacific team's fault in Fracture? Because no one top crunches in Fracture apart from these 2 teams. And so when this happens, they're like, oh, okay, we can just take this stuff, and like no one's ever like going in or doing anything. I swear, like no one's.
This was the only round as
this
well that
was
Paper X ran a
mad, bro.
default. It's the only round that Paper X defaulted. Every other round they were doing something
Yeah.
fast
Yeah,
or reactive off barrier.
I
And
wouldn't-
can we look at round 22 as well? Because no one's talking about this, but round 22, Paper X did the exact same thing. They just didn't get punished by it because their read was correct, that they were doing something reactive off the back of it. Like, you should wait for your site player to make noise or like to hear noise, and if you're going for a play like that. But I think it's also just like the pace of Pacific player and the fact that they made a hard assumption about what was going on.
Doing it on defense is mad. I thought it was like they attack crunched and did it. Holy, that is insane. No, yeah, it's bad. That is bad.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think personally, I mean, Fracture was fun because it was chaos, but I didn't have that much fun
Look at this.
watching it. Mostly,
They north side crunch, and then they hear them in A, and 3 of them go
Yeah.
on the rope
No,
again.
that's
Exactly
true.
the
Is
same.
this when-
But there's
oh,
nobody
yeah,
waiting
yeah.
here, you know. So it's like Paper X get away with it, and it doesn't look daft because they weren't playing a 4-1 with somebody waiting down here. They just
Yeah.
did the fast reaction. But I like the fact that both teams went for it, but Nongshim looked like the idiots.
I'm surprised that Nongshim let both of the new maps through.
Yeah.
I guess they thought the Paper X would have less, like the same amount of time as them, so it would have been even. But historically, like at least
Yeah.
That's why I picked them. I picked them because historical map, good
But
map.
right.
Paper X.
Surely you don't let both of the maps through. Is what I was thinking. For
Yeah, when I saw that Lotus was the 3rd map, I was like, I don't know how I feel about that. Like, Nongshim's Lotus was okay in the past,
Mhm.
but it was just okay. You know what I mean? Like, you're like, okay, you probably go OT, like it's a 50-50 game against anybody, but Haven was right there. You know, like banning the
Yeah.
Haven over the Lotus seems a little bit too scared. I mean, maybe you were just banking on the fact that neither of you guys would have practiced, so let's just send it and see what happens. But
Paper
the
X's
reason I
Haven
was
looked crazy too.
yeah. The reason I was frustrated was because you can lose and you can have bad comps, but the protocols they had at Santiago were just not there. And yeah, obviously I think adding the Waylay ruins that a little bit, right? Because before it's just like Euro takes space and then Tommy can do whatever and you lead him in and XRS can just throw his util. Now, like on split multiple times, you're seeing Francis and Domby basically shoulder check each other, trying to get into the site first, trying to decide who's taking space, and then they're both caught with util out, and it's messy. And I think the problem is, personally, I think if you're playing Neon Waylay, the Waylay should be the one creating space first because you can actually get out. And I think that's where the problem comes in, where Domby just always in his head is like, well, I'm first in. Then they get into a traffic jam, and it's a big problem. So, yeah, I guess let Jake's in, bring the nerf up faster, deny the Waylay from these guys. Like,
it will help them, especially on Lotus. I want to see him change their comp on Lotus, man. I can't watch a no Senti comp and then people not have the Zeta 3-1-1 default from C. I was like, they got a default here. They got to go aggro. Like, Zeta literally have the default that enables you to play no Senti. And no one does it on defense.
What do you want to see them play, Nongshim, if they don't play the Waylay? Is it double
Info
initiator
Senti.
comps?
I mean, Lotus Info Senti. On the other maps, don't know, man.
I honestly think for the time being, like, if you're just concerned about getting enough wins during the group stage, which I guess they're not because they already have 10 champs points, but if you are, like, I think they could run with the Phoenix. I think they could do the Neon Phoenix for a lot of these maps, and they could be fine. You know what I mean? Like, it's not the ideal. I would personally, I mean, I just want to see more Harbor, and I think it's worth seeing more Harbor, but I think they could also run the Harbor. I feel like they're a team that can do that. The only problem is I don't think Harbor's good with Neon, so that's where they'd have to figure that out. But yeah, the Phoenix is I think it's just an easy answer if you want the easiest out, right?
Has Francis ever played it? He doesn't strike me as a Phoenix player, but I don't.
I actually don't know. If he has, it's not much.
It's like in the dawn of time type shit.
Yeah, no, he never has. But he's played Duelist in the past, and he's played a lot of Flash Initiator, right? That's his main thing. So I feel like it could go well. Like, he should be used to being the guy who's like actually meant to get the kills, and Domby's the one, creating space. So theoretically, I think it can work out. But yeah. We should what we should be looking at though is we should look at that Lotus round. What was it?
The Divine.
That's second round. Round two.
No, we definitely should. Good reminder,
because
I was going to move on. So you were talking about spraying the bodies earlier, and I watched a clip from your costume Jobra where you were talking to Wendler about this. So could you give us the retelling of the story here?
Yeah. So basically, as the clip comes up, those who watch it will recognize it immediately. But PaperX had just won the pistol, so anti-eco. Domby goes in and Devi wins it, and he's so happy. He's like, "I did my job," and he looks up, and suddenly there's just two people on the site, just like the vice while being there, and he had run out of bullets. And I asked Wendler about it, and apparently Wendler and Alex both slammed the desk so hard that they alt-tabbed out of the game because it shook the keyboard.
That's so good.
And the best part is I heard afterwards that they were wondering if Devi was going to say anything to his teammates, and he did it. And he just like pretended it was just some fun. And they called him out on it. They called him out on it afterwards, and he was like, "Ah, shoot."
That's incredible.
I mean, if you're the player, you have to hope your coaches didn't see it, right? Like, you just gotta keep stum in that situation. You can't be telling your teammates, like, I solved that one when none of them are on site with you. That one's utterly egregious, though. I'm like, I can't believe it.
They get away with it though, because of course they do, because they win the next round.
Yeah,
anyway.
they
then eco and win back.
Well, no, I mean, literally, if you lost the game because of that round, like that would be terrible. So I guess lucky for him. It was. I mean, the momentum could have shifted, but yeah, until we swapped sides and Nongshim doesn't do anything. Yeah,
it's so good.
Yeah,
man, it's just wild. Like, how do you think the Vice Hall is keeping all of them out when you're playing against a triple dive comp?
Well, it's funny because that's just what everyone thinks, though, right? They're like, "We'll play the Vice against the Neon, and it'll stop him." And he's like, "Yes, I did it. Get punished." And then there's just 3 other people blinking over the wall.
Yeah. I think it was Seth casting, and he was like, "Oh, just heard the desk slam." Let's talk about the next game, though, because Full Sense played against DFM. This is Full Sense with Cruz now as well, IGLing for them. And, I thought this might be a bit of a close game. If you looked at both of these teams at kickoff, should have been a challenge probably for Full Sense to get across the line. I got to be honest, it didn't feel like it when I'm watching this game. Felt very, very comfortable.
Yeah. Good
Yeah.
things for Full Sense. A lot of positives for Full Sense. I think Jit Boys, despite bomb fragging there on the Neon, actually looked okay on Neon. Because we were thinking like, oh, will Full Sense play double duelist? Do they have another duelist? Like, and Jit Boys has gone from IGLing to playing Neon, which is quite a switch. And he actually did okay. And Primmie on Phoenix is kind of a bit of a cheat code. I was speculating if Full Sense really wanted to, I think it's possible they could have got 6 ults. If they want to, on Pearl with Primmie on Phoenix, because he's obviously Primmie, and so he was commonly getting 3 or 4 kills in these rounds and just building up. And they weren't even farming the ult orbs that much, and they weren't giving him plants and stuff. I think it's actually possible they could ult every other round, which is
Yeah.
an insane thing to do.
I mean,
but I think it's possible.
They had it on the 3rd and the 5th round, right?
Yeah.
The 2 big buy rounds.
Yeah,
How
I think
can-
if they
how can
fully
the Arsenal-
lent into it though, like
Yeah,
ult orb, plant, like stuff like that, it could be insane. And I want it to happen because it'd be funny.
Yeah, he's one of the scarier players. I think this just made me, when I watched DFM on Attack, it just made me realize, even though like May is an incredible player, like there was a reason that we were speaking so highly of like 100 Thieves and NRG for being able to run the solo Waylay. I think it takes a certain kind of duelist, and as much as I liked like a lot of stuff the Full Sense were doing, I just don't think that it fits their style enough to just run the solo Waylay, because I feel like he has to be such a carry instead of more of the supportive duelist of I'm making space or I've put the death mark on someone. Whereas I feel like Primmie's more using his stuff for himself, and I'm not sure it works for this team to kind of have.
Yeah.
I just don't like how they play the solo Waylay, I guess is the easiest way to say it. But Full Sense, they looked sick, man. I liked Cruz's mid-rounding was good. I liked just their perma, Judge, Neon stuff. They had a lot of good pathing that Kurtis showed there as well. Like they had a lot of stuff that would just make it make sense. And it was similar to how Durka was doing it, but maybe there was a little bit more thought into enabling it as well. So I liked it, man.
I went back and I reviewed this one because I wanted to look at Cruz IGLing, and they only ran pre-barrier calls for the whole of the attack side on Pearl. They didn't slow the game down or cancel a hit once in rifle rounds. They did on the anti-ecos. They mixed some in. But on the rifle rounds, every single thing was a pre-barrier call. And they did the same thing in the first half of Bind as well. That's what makes me a little bit worried about DFM here. That once DFM showed that they could stop a hit on Bind, Cruz like added in some cancels, some fakes, some TP pivots. They never had to do a single one of those on Pearl. And I'm not saying that they can't. They just literally ran away with the attack side, never needing to at any point. And that is, I mean, that's, I think part of why this game felt so easy was just because the plan just worked off the rip. Like, they were just running it at them and boom.
Well,
they won every time.
I think that's the thing, though. A lot of times they had the Phoenix Sword and they had a Neon that was going to capitalize off of the space anyway. And then you're inserted with a Judge. Like, I just felt like they were so comfy with it, and like their pathing was so different, and they have the Judge that, I don't know, I don't think there's any point. If anything, it's harder to cancel. Like with this comp, it's such an all-in comp when you're looking at the Pearl one, because as soon as your wall's done, you don't really have anything else to hit, and then the Phoenix Sword's done, it's a little harder as well. So
yeah, but it's also on DFM, right? Like on their defense, they're just constantly spread out, like really, really thin on their defaults. And then because they're spread out, they have no tools to actually push out and get info. So they're just stuck at the middle of the map or on site. And then the hit comes, and like you said, it's an all-in hit. So obviously you're going to lose. And then you're just scrambling.
They genuinely didn't. Oh, go on. Sorry.
No, yeah, I got to join the presser after this match for both teams. And I asked him about that, and he was like, Vors was actually straight up just like, I think the defaults it's on me, right? Like, I think I just kind of pushed them towards the wrong direction. And I do think like it forced us to be too slow on the adaptation. But what is a little bit disappointing is that these are issues we've seen with them before. And so with most Japanese teams. So it's like we just watched Santiago where everyone's just all inning all the time. And if this is what you're coming in with on what's supposed to be your best map, it is not boding well.
I don't think they were exploitative enough. Like, one of the things that I think teams like PaperX and Nongshim actually do, but PaperX in particular are amazing at, is that when they realize that an opponent is good at something or bad at something, they'll kind of like throw the rulebook out the window a little bit. And they're like, on defense, for example, obviously we should be like not over-rotating too much, I think is the easiest example, actually. But if my opponent's never throwing fakes at us, never throwing a default at us, fuck it. Over-rotate like crazy until they prove that they're going to do something different. And I just felt like in this game, DFM at no point got the, very, very late in the game, got the read about what was going on. Like there were so many opportunities to be pushing out the opposite side of the map against Full Sense, to be over-rotating and cheating one side of the map a little bit. And a lot of the Pacific teams are really, really good at this exploitative style of play. And DFM didn't do that. They didn't make it difficult for Full Sense here. I think they really missed it. They were like almost playing by the book a bit too much.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
And they also
You're a Pacific team.
they also have a good chamber. We saw Yatsuka on chamber in kickoff really popping off against some of the best players, and for them to not utilize it at all was a bit of a shame.
Primmie would have been a good pick though, for anybody's fantasy stuff. He's continuing to absolutely fry. What do you think about the firepower of this team with Cruz coming in? Are you worried at all? I mean, obviously, I was playing badly, but
Cruz was fragging.
Still seemed really good.
Yeah. It made me laugh when Cruz is fragging and he's just standing up and laughing, and like clearly the team is just joking, like, "Oh, you got to kill."
Yeah. And the thing is like his IGLing, I think, just makes up for it so much in the landscape of Pacific that he'll be fine. But yeah, he can also still frag, so it's fine.
All right, let's have a look at our next game then.
Oh,
so we've got to talk about them. And you know what?
I'm not even mad about the team that you think I'm angry about something else.
Well, Team Secret probably should have been folded up and put away by DRX. And instead, we actually got like a more competitive game than I was expecting on Fracture specifically.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that's because DRX.
Okay.
I was fucking losing my mind at this Fracture defense side from DRX. You talk about like, oh, sometimes, teams aren't going to run fakes and they're going to, throw the rulebook out the window, get over there, rotate. Fracture, do you know what fucking map this is? They picked this map. Do they know what the map is? They're just fucking sitting there, ducks in a row on Fracture defense side, just fucking doing nothing. Some of the shit that they were doing. And then if they do try and do something aggressive, Kurt, if you can show round 12 of DRX's defense side on Fracture, I don't think I've ever seen anything like. Well, one, they're playing Waylay instead of Neon.
Crunch.
Oh my god! Is it a crunch? Is this a crunch? Is this an aggro play? What is this?
Don't know.
I don't know, because they try a baby version of whatever the fuck it's meant to be, and then they do a big version of whatever it's meant to be, and they're both shit, and they both end up using all of their util for fucking nothing. So no, Kurt, you need to go early. You need to go start of the round. Start of the round. You need to go.
Because you've shown us the climax.
Yeah, you've shown. Yeah.
We need to see
early
the build
there,
up.
son. Right. From the start of the round, what's going to happen here is Team Secret are going to make some noise out towards A lobby, and there's 3 DRX players here. They got their Waylay, their Duelist, they got the Breach here. You see they're setting up for some sort of play, and Team Secret, they pop it early, before Team Secret perhaps are there. So okay, they kind of missed it. That's whatever, right? Like, okay, you missed it. You wasted some util. But then they decide, oh fuck it, let's use 3 ults. But our tail ult stops our Waylay from being able to use the other 2 ults, and Team Secret just get out. So they have used Saturate tail missiles, Breach stun, Aftershock, 3 ults, a tail ult, a Breach ult, and a Waylay ult, and have got nothing for it. And in other rounds, they don't do shit. They aren't aggressive. Like, they don't play off each other. They don't rotate quick enough to get their, Fracture a lot. Even if you watch Team Secret on defense side, and even though Team Secret struggled on their defense side, like, you could see, understood how Fracture works. One person takes a fight, then you swing out the smoke on the other side. You're fighting with your teammates at different angles and stuff like that. DRX aren't there for their teammates. There is no ping pong. It's just ping. But they're also dying on sight. And had this been anyone else, Liggy, I can see you perhaps want to show some Team Secret. Had this been any other team, DRX get fucked on this map. But luckily, they were playing against a team who makes some outrageous decisions and plays themselves, and not in a good way.
Yeah, but both of these teams Fractures, I was looking at, I'm just like, I couldn't believe, I watched 2 games of Fractures, I never saw a topside crunch against Info Senti, where you can essentially just break the camera for free and make sure that he takes the TP, and then he takes the rope even, and then you got the whole of topside. I can't believe I didn't see it once. It was such a passive defense from both teams. Dude,
Mhm.
I thought Team Secret were going to win this. I don't know which clips I've seen. I can kind of just.
This was
I can't
DRX
remember
pick, by the way. That's what was pissing me
No,
off.
that's
as well.
that's what's
Why
mad
the fuck
about
you
it.
picking a map you can't play with a Waylay instead of a Neon? Fuck.
Yeah, the odds were the all round you showed was like really bad
That
as
one
well,
was
man.
exceptional. They
It
did a bad
was.
Southside crunch earlier on as well. Round 7, they did like the tortoise Southside crunch.
Yeah,
Where they
behind
slow
the
walked a
spam.
tree into a
Mhm.
smoke and then swung through the smoke one at a time with no util. And I was like, what is this? And then it got capped off with that round 12 one. And it, like, Jesus. Yeah. Oh, look at this. You're 8 seconds into the round doing a Southside crunch and it's silent. What? It's so weird. What is going on? I've never seen a team. I guess there was a stun. Sorry. There was actually a stun there for them to try to walk through the smoke. The stun doesn't hit everything. The stun just randomly goes down the middle.
Yeah.
Ends up in a 1v1, which actually, you know, in theory, DRX should be favored in this, I think. But
Yeah.
LES ends up playing it quite well and Team Secret win the round. But it's just not.
No,
It doesn't actually put pressure on you. Like, both of those rounds don't make you scared as the attackers. And that's kind of the
Yeah.
point, I think, of running defensive aggression on Fracture, is that you're supposed to make the attackers scared that they can't just take space very easily at the beginning of rounds. It's supposed to make your slightly more passive rounds easier to play, because you don't just give up the map immediately in the first 10 seconds.
Yeah, oh, it's just painful, man. It was just painful. I was going to go into it, but honestly, I don't want to do it now. I've been reminded of some of the rounds. It's just...
Are you watching, like, Rimuru getting toasted by his own Brimalt, or like,
Oh,
what were you-
dude, there was so many.
Oh, dude.
There's like some of the 1v1s as well, where they're just swinging out and you can just play time. I can't.
Oh, there's
Is
an
it-
egregious
is
one,
this-
isn't there?
this
Where
is-
they
this is it.
Oh,
Right,
yeah.
where it's just
he's
like,
literally
Oh,
won the round.
if you
This-
AFK, you win the round.
yeah,
He
you
mind
can
controlled
let go of
Rimuru.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Mate, look how when he gets to the spike, look how little time is on
maybe like
this.
3 seconds?
Yeah, it's like 2 something.
Oh, I think
Like,
yeah,
yeah.
it's less than 2.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man, just
They
tuck
literally
in.
could just go AFK. Yeah.
Yeah,
1.1.
1.5.
1.36.
It's- yeah,
a
it's
bit of a
bad.
shame. I did want to point out one thing about DRX, or I guess KRX now. Is that everyone
yeah.
was wondering what they were going to do with the roster, and seeing them put Young on Chamber makes me believe that they are going to rely on him to be their main opper, like where they can. Obviously, he was playing the Cypher on Fracture, but because that's what you're missing if you take out the Yoru. It actually works out for them because the Yoru got nerfed anyway, right? So Primmie's taking a step back, maybe not so bad. He is quite flexible, but if that's what you're looking for to allow Hyunmin to just run around, then it does make sense because I think he did fine. I know his stats aren't great, but I think he did fine for his debut match on Chamber. So here's to
I
see.
think we might be focusing on the wrong map here, because most of the maps will probably look more like the comp that they ran on map one,
Pearl.
on Pearl,
Yeah.
rather than Fracture.
Which
'Cause
had-
Fracture's quite unusual in the map pool.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
had
They picked it
freeing...
though, by the way.
I know they picked it. I know.
Yeah.
I know. No, for sure. But like, most of their map pool is probably going to look more like, you know, like when we saw Navi and Heretics play, where they're leaning hard into the chamber and, you know, like Liquid leaning
yeah.
hard into the Neon Phoenix. Like, that's, I would guess that's more of their vision on most of the maps.
Yeah,
No.
But who knows?
probably.
Who knows? There was a
Alright.
nice Tae hold. Have we seen that one before? The one in
Oh,
Tower,
yeah.
where you're like
Yeah.
completely
Oh, yeah,
trapped?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
one was quite nice.
That one
Got
was
freeing
good.
2.
That was
completely free
the
kills.
only nice ult out of the map.
Yeah. But it was nice.
It was nice.
But it
though.
was
Hey,
nice.
It was nice. It was
We at
actually
least
really
had
nice.
one.
It was nice.
And here's the series that I didn't get to see at all, so I do need to be brought up to speed on this one. ZETA Division plays against
Oh.
RRQ. Now, in my head, I'm looking at this one on paper and just thinking, slam dunk, isn't it? Absolute slam dunk. RRQ should be miles better than ZETA Division here. Looked at it on VLR afterwards, and I'm thinking, well, whoopsie daisy, what's gone on in this game? So was it more than just the one map to
Yeah,
open that was bad from RRQ, or what's the
Well,
tale of the
I wouldn't
tape?
even
I
say
think-
bad from
our.
I would say good from
Oh,
Zeta
yeah?
personally.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I would say. I mean, I think Split, you were just kind of getting run. Absol was he just kind of
Unbelievable,
consumed
yeah.
Dep's soul, and he said, "We're back," and he just started stomping
that
on
good.
everybody. Yeah, so maybe that's what happened on Split. But Haven, I mean, obviously RQ eventually won it as well, but they played it well. It's just Zeta could have absolutely closed that out as well. I think Zeta just looks much more improved, like really good changes in terms of re-clears, you know, confirming information before rotating, taking proactive changes. Players like Shota and Absol just being able to make those decisions as well. Like Shoto was getting some nasty lurk timings on their attacks on a lot of these maps, and that's just so refreshing to see from any Japanese team, but obviously ZETA Division especially. So I mean, they're promising. I honestly think, like, first of all, I believed that they were going to win this at some point in Haven as well, and I think they should have if they had a little bit more experience with it.
Yeah. This was like at the start of the Haven when it was like 6-0 or whatever, and RRQ put Jemkin on Killjoy and he's 0-6, whatever it was. It's like, holy fuck, RRQ have completely trolled this, right? Like it just feels like we've gone for a comp change that hasn't worked whatsoever, and we're gonna lose a game that we definitely shouldn't be losing. And Data looked much better than perhaps we thought. Then Jemkin just fucking woke up. I mean, he just from that point, he was like 22-8 or something, 22-7, something like that, and he just went absolutely crazy. So they ends up looking not so bad, but it genuinely looked like, oh, ZETA are gonna destroy this game. And yeah, I think if they were, I don't know if they got a little nervous or whatever, but like had they just been able to lock in a bit more, like they should have run away with this game. Instead, they kind of let RRQ like that 4 rounds in a row. It was like, oh, you've given them a chance, and then you lose pistol. It's like, from when RRQ won that second pistol, I was like, oh no, oh no.
The one thing that I really liked from ZETA, outside of like what they did in the actual server, like their changing of comps, is essentially, I mean, it's pretty bold to do, because I felt, because Echo was like really good on the Neon. That was actually like the one shining light for the team that I felt. So to move him away from the Neon and put Absol on paper is like really risky, but it works so well. Absol looks insanely comfy. He was one of the reasons the split was so easy for them.
So the stats difference between, and again, I haven't watched the game, but the stats difference between Absol on map 1 and map 3 playing the Neon is pretty huge. I mean, the rate, he's got a 1.64 rating on split and a 0.57 rating on Haven. But does that actually reflect how he played? Like, was he still playing a good Neon game on Haven, even though he just is getting like bad stats?
I think so. I don't think he was playing a bad game on Neon. Let's put it that way. I don't think he was playing a god game. No, he's not feeding. Right. He's doing his job. But if we can take a look at round 9 real quick, Kurt, just the actual round 9, around like 120 mark. So this is ZETA still on attack, and this is in the middle. And this is where I wish I do think if ZETA just calls a timeout 1 round early each time, they might have actually won this. But this is when RQ is starting to come back in, and ZETA start to push in. And it's things like this where RQ will. They've got the read now that ZETA's starting to get first contact and just dive in with their double duelist, and so they completely bait ZETA into a trap in garage. If we eventually, do you get the clip up? But if we don't, basically, yeah. So you see, ZETA's like positioning just to try to test garage. It's been weak for most of the time, and you're gonna see. All right, we get some movement outside. They have Jemkin hidden, but Xfero sells this so well. It's like, okay, the Silva's over on the window, but Xfero's shooting. He's spamming. He's putting up snake bites. Like he's just gonna have to run away. They dash in, and he just baits them all in, and they're all focused on the left side. And when RQ's pulling stuff like that, it's like, okay, this is where the experience shows. And,
but also, how the hell have they committed 3 players to garage?
Garage, it's such a good read.
Yeah, it's an insane read.
I mean, that's what I mean, though. It's that RQ calls a timeout. They start to get adjustments. If ZETA was able to call a timeout around earlier and say, yo, chill, they've figured you out, let's do something else from the playbook, I think things look a little different. So it is a shame, but I think Absol was doing his job. It's when you see plays like that, right? It's like, what do you do as the Neon? So there's not much more.
Yeah, I think they can if they applied more of how proactive they are on their split to other maps, I think they'll look a lot better. The Fracture was really weird to watch, to be honest, because both of the teams didn't look that good on Fracture, but they're also playing the double veto, right? Is the game? Yeah, so it's like the RQ veto kind of countered some of the afterplan util, but I think against other comps, it actually looked pretty good. Again, no north side crunches, man. Again, against a veto when it's only like 1 trip, I find it so weird. I think teams are super passive at the moment and maybe forgot how to play defense on Fracture, and it's showing in how many rounds they're winning. So
yeah.
Does it change your opinion on where ZETA's going to finish in their group? Because we were talking about ZETA and VARREL being like pretty much guaranteed bottom 2 in that Omega group.
No, I think ZETA right now after week 1, I think ZETA's taking that 4th spot. I think they're going to playoffs
over DFM.
Over DFM,
like with DFM and VARREL at the bottom, kind of like how it is now.
Yeah,
well, the
it's
order,
gonna be
whatever.
close.
Yeah,
it's gonna be close.
It could be. But I think if they keep playing like these styles, I think ZETA should.
If I just judge it off of this week, ZETA get 4th. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's see. You put your money where your mouth is. Let's have a look at some predictions then. Shall we? We've got the reviewer report card check-in as well. So last week's Pacific Match of the Week was the Nongshim PaperX game. Nongshim dominated PaperX when it came to Master Santiago, but let's see which way our community thought the game was going to go.
Ooh,
51% of you. I mean, considering how many fans PaperX has as well, I think that is still a lot of credit to Nongshim, like in terms of that game. But yeah, it shows you how close it was. I'm so glad that PaperX actually came out and played like their A game in that.
Dude, Jing was playing prime 2023, 2024. Jing, yeah.
It's great. It's a great map pool for them now.
It's so good, isn't it? It's so good. Yeah, but you guys were right. Well done, little Timmies. Well done. You can check back in the community tab to vote for this week's Pacific Match of the Week, which is a doozy. But first of all, we've got to get our predictions for DFM against T1. So let's have a look at this one. DFM versus T1. It's a rematch of a match that happened during the middle bracket, I think.
Oh, damn, that's mental, mate.
You didn't.
That's a misclick.
What
surely.
are they paying
TMV,
you too? Are you taking 2 contracts? What's going on?
TMV's gone for DFM.
You're damn right I am. Right. Let me explain, because again, this one has nothing to do with this game. Okay. Again, it's about cosmic. About the cosmic radiation background. Okay. I was looking at all the Pacific games, and I was looking at them like, oh no, what if we like guarantee every game here? This doesn't look very good. These Pacific games look kind of one-sided, quite a few of them. So I was like, okay, there will be an upset. The chance, even if I think this is a 70-30 T1 game, maybe you even think it's higher. One of these games isn't going to go that way. And I looked at the games and I thought, you know who I think are frauds? T1. And you know who I think we thought would be better, and maybe they were just having an off day, and we don't realize that yet. But actually, you know, people had hope for this team coming in, and maybe they just had a bad day. People had hope for this team for a reason, because they were a gatekeeper team during kickoff. They have shown this year that they aren't that bad. So I was looking at the games and going, of all the teams that are going to be a 70-30 or worse upset, this is my one.
This is the one.
This is my one. Even though I
this is your
know,
upset.
if you just look at last week, it makes no fucking sense.
Yeah.
Now, what that also
gotta zoom
implies
out.
is you think every other game is even more one-sided than this one, and we were about to guarantee it.
Dude, I was doing pick'ems here, and I was looking
Pretty
at them
much
thinking like, damn, this feels like an easy week for
The
Pacific.
snoozer week.
Yeah,
it is.
snoozer
It is.
week.
It is. It is a
Okay.
little bit.
All right, well, let's go straight into the next one then. So the
So
next
you're
one,
welcome. If DFM win this, you're welcome.
yeah, no, appreciate it,
Alright.
it. But also, you might have just tanked our Plat Chat
Yeah, I was
guarantee
gonna
win
say,
rate.
I think
True. Well, we might tank it in these future games too.
Okay, well, next game coming up is Nongshim RedForce playing against the artist formerly known as DRX, now known as KRX. And all of us
Okay, it's over. It's over.
have gone with Nongshim.
Get smiling. Get smiling. If we're guaranteeing this one, get
we're
smiling.
guaranteeing. I think we guarantee more.
Yeah, it must be. It
You
must
could
be.
speed. You could
What's
speed
the
run it.
win con? What's the win con for KRX? If this is more of the close game,
Don't
how
be
do they win this
fracture.
game?
Francis is on Waylay.
Big Lotus.
They play Lotus. They play
Big Lotus
maps
fracture. Yeah, leave it
yeah,
open.
They can't play.
The thing is like the map pool just is still bad for Nongshim, I think, right? Because it's like
Yep.
DRX also historically good at Breeze, so it's like you pick your poison. Breeze, Fracture, Lotus. You got to play at least one of them. Which one are you playing?
Okay. Well then, let's have a look at the next game. This one is our match of the week. Match of the week. And this one is...
This might be the worst match of
This
the week
is-
of all time.
It really might be.
No,
if you thought
but
last week's EMEA one was bad, get ready for a stink.
Wait, what's this one?
No.
Team
Go
Secret
ahead, yeah.
against Global Esports.
This is match of the week.
no, I can explain. I selected this one because we're seeing GE on the come up. Everyone's starting to believe now, right? The comps are
Okay.
actually working out. The crazy comps are there. But Secret doesn't look as bad as you thought. So if Secret is just barely good enough versus Frost red light, green light,
This is just
who
the test.
wins?
Yeah,
That's
the ultimate
this is the
test.
ultimate test.
It
That's
really
why
is.
it's match of the week. Because here's the thing: if they lose here, like there's actually this is scientific fact that Frost has
If
carries
they
around a
lose
red
this
light, green light
game,
curse.
it
Yeah.
is proven.
This is analysis versus superstition. This is
Yes.
Yeah.
like
Yes.
science
Yeah.
versus religion.
Yeah.
That's what this is.
Yeah.
We've guaranteed science, but God, I hope it's religion. Just because it would be fun. Yeah, I can't. I just think global looked way better, but
Why? You don't need to
knows?
justify it. Move
yeah,
on.
let's just
Yeah,
move on.
we don't need to
that
justify
that
it.
was your match of the week. Next
Jesus.
one, RRQ plays
In fact,
against.
actually, the only thing to say about that game.
it's
we
too
broke
late.
down. It's too late.
Smile. It's RRQ VARREL, buddy. Do you have anything to say about this game, TMP?
No, but just to go back quickly. The only thing to say about that game is it's always interesting. You know how there's like always a certain percentage of people, like if you say, do you want, the whole world to end, stuff like that? Like there's always like a percent of people that will like say the wildest stuff in those surveys, right?
Yeah.
And you always get like,
Mhm.
this is that game as match of the week is an interesting test to see how many lunatics are there in the Valorant community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's nothing to say about this game RRQ about the Valorant.
I mean, this is also one of those games, though. Like, if you're playing VARREL in this game, they didn't look good. I mean, they didn't look good in
That's
kickoff.
what I mean.
They
This
didn't
is
look
why
good
I
in week
picked
one.
the FM, because I was like,
Yeah.
one of these games is gonna go
What?
that way.
And just to be clear as well,
Like, so
because I
crazy
didn't
now.
watch the RRQ game, you don't think that was RRQ playing badly. That was ZETA
Oh,
stepping
they didn't
up.
weren't playing great. I would say they were playing a six.
But they didn't play badly
But
enough to
themselves.
lose to a VARREL or be worried about that?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No,
They
not
didn't play
that
bad
bad.
enough.
Right.
No.
I don't think they looked that bad. I really
No,
don't.
they played okay.
Sure.
No, but
I'd
yeah,
say
they
they were
played
much
the
better than
same.
they
Yeah,
thought.
they played the same at an average level. So they're
They were
average.
an
Yeah,
they
they're
were- yeah,
average.
they just went. Yeah,
All
yeah,
right.
whatever.
Next game. Next game maybe even should
Yeah.
have more upset potential, actually. If
Yeah.
with the way that we've been talking, it's
Yeah,
full
but
sense.
Get smiling, buddy.
It's full sense playing against ZETA Division.
But no one's done it. Dude, Full Sense look too good though. That's the issue.
Why? Come on, why? If you're
Well, why
selling
didn't
me on
you
the
do it?
ZETA,
That-
because I didn't watch
that-
a ZETA game, man. So I don't know how good they were. But you're all telling me, wow, ZETA actually looked really strong, and that's why they managed to take a map. Oh,
they did,
they're looking
but-
really nice.
Yeah, but we said the same thing about Full Sense.
Yeah, but full sense look good.
Well, yeah, true. I'm just
I
asking for
also-
somebody to
Like,
be
look, if
bold.
this was Zeta like DRX or something where there was some, shenanigans going on,
right,
maybe.
okay,
But like, yeah, full sense look good.
Yeah,
So- so
I think
okay.
it's just an IGL diff as well. It's like if Zeta
Yeah.
are calling the timeouts one round late, like if their adjustments are always one round late, then Cruz just isn't going to give them the time of day.
Yeah, I would say you're angry at us not going for it, but it's fucking stage one, man. I hate these stages, dude. I've experienced triple elim. I hate the format now. Now we get these
Yeah.
fucking shit games where it's 70-30, 80-20
I might-
every week.
I've been saying this for ages. Round robin is not that great of a format, and also the
No.
problem I have with round robin is some of these games are incredibly important for the overall outcome towards the end, but you don't know that now. You have to
Yeah,
look
yeah.
back on them with the benefit of hindsight and be like, "Wow, that week one game was like it defined their entire season." Actually,
Yeah, you had no idea. Yeah,
and you had no idea when you were watching it.
yeah.
Okay, final game. Now this one really
26-0. What
tests
you
it.
what you about to say?
I mean, in terms of you saying the lunatics filling out the surveys, this one really tests that theory. Gen.G versus Paper Rex. In previous years, should have been electric. Right
Yeah.
now, actual hydrogen bomb versus coughing baby on the verge of death.
And not the Shio coffin baby.
Not the Shio coffin
Shio
baby. Hydrogen bomb that's had a COVID injection versus coughing baby. You couldn't get two teams in a different form, I feel like. Like, Paper X just
Yeah.
look so nice. Even the map that they lost, I felt like they should have won it.
No, they should have won it. I mean, Nongshim pulled it out of their ass. So
And then Gen.G are tripping over themselves. Like, Guy in a sack versus Usain
We
Bolt.
get it. We get it.
they're already down.
Stop there already, Dan.
Divine needs to shoot the body of every first kill
Oh,
he
yeah.
gets.
Dude, okay, if Paper X, after they killed the fast pass and have to shoot one bullet at the body, what percentage would you give Gen.G? Every player has to. Would you?
They still only get 20%.
I'd give them
fucking crazy.
Yeah, I'd give them 1%
No, because that's
increase.
bro. That's how
No,
Kang Kang
legit.
plays anyway. Bro, Kang Kang when he gets the kills, flicks down to spray the ground like half the time anyway. If you're used to it, you can make that.
And
work.
this is why I picked DFM. If we guaranteed
Yeah.
every game,
Yeah.
Yeah. No one
Oh,
would
well,
watch.
Yeah, it's a really bad week, man.
It is. It is a rough week for Pacific. Yeah.
Mm.
Hey,
Yeah,
it's
that's
an
tough.
easy week to make your VFL drafts, though. I mean,
That's
these are
true,
some. Yeah, these
actually.
are some gimmies.
That's
Yeah.
Except
true.
you kind of need to start picking up America's players.
Yes.
don't you?
Yes. Yeah.
How
You can wait a
quickly
week.
can you? Is that how it works?
Yeah, you can wait a week if you want to stack them all, or you can do like 1-1 and then
You've
2,
got
3, 3,
4
right.
transfers that don't have to be America's.
Gotcha. Gotcha. All
So
right.
you could.
Good to know. Good to know.
Dude,
right, well,
I missed this week because I got a wedding in England. I couldn't have timed it any better. Not that I planned the wedding; it's not my wedding, but I'm just
That'd be
looking at this
crazy.
thinking. I'm just looking at this thinking that it could have been timed any better.
no.
It's a good week to miss.
Yeah. So you're missing EMEA as well, though.
I miss Friday of EMEA and maybe the beginning of
Yeah, it was
FNATIC.
Friday EMEA.
FNATIC Vitality.
Is
Wait,
FNATIC
no,
Vitality
the-
you may be missing.
Yeah,
anyway.
I miss all the
the
Americas
last
games.
day. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right,
That's
right,
tough.
right. Okay. Well, unlucky. But we're still gonna want your analysis
Yeah.
when we move on to Americas, and then we just won't ever be able
Yeah,
to
I'll-
quiz
I'll
you on
check-
it afterwards.
I'll check the scores, see what went down.
But we will be kicking Choba off the show. It's been a pleasure having you here, though.
Finally.
All right. All right. I guess I'll get out of
so
here.
uncalled for.
See ya.
Insanely out of pocket. Insanely out of pocket. And we're bringing in another Mimi. Sorry, I was going to say another Deadlock addict, but I spoiled it. We're getting Mimi in.
Another Mimi.
Another
Another Mimi.
Mimi. Oh,
Maybe.
oh, whoa.
Nice entrance, dude.
Reveal.
Hello. You meant
I
I,
like
heard you
that.
talking about Deadlock?
Oh, don't start.
No.
Did you guys see the Infernus buffs? He's got like a run it back now. It's fucking crazy.
Oh, just copying our homework, eh?
Yeah.
It is the same character in both games. What are we talking about? America?
Well, we were talking about Deadlock earlier when we were talking about global, but yeah, now we're going to talk about Americas.
Okay.
What is
This
there to talk about?
lazy ass region who isn't beginning for another 4 days.
Did
we
you
get to
shave your
do
head, Sideshow?
previews.
That's how it started.
Is
I
it-
mean, honestly, we got nothing.
It's done. See, this is why it was late. Last week, look at his hair. His
I was
hair was
yeah.
all
they
over
had
his
to
head.
do it for
I had
you.
scruff everywhere, didn't I? And I smartened myself up.
Yeah,
And,
but this is why it's a week late.
Don't they
Give you
shave you
time.
there normally?
It took you a week.
they don't. They sometimes they do shave me there if I've like not
Really?
shaved to. Sometimes I haven't shaved to their standards,
Oh.
and so they're like, you've got a bit of muck there, haven't you? And so they give me a little shave, and I'm like, I couldn't even see that, but they got high standards over there.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Just
it's
doing
free.
that, Kurt.
But I don't normally turn up with like a bushy beard and ask them to shave it. I'm not trying to get free labor. I'm just
Oh, I
bad at looking after
Cass,
myself.
the makeup artist for America, she cuts my hair. So I am taking their free labor.
Do you pay? You don't
No.
pay her?
But she offers to do it because
No.
it makes her job easier because she knows I wouldn't do it to her standards otherwise. So she's just like, fuck it, I'm gonna do this myself, and it won't take me that much time, and it makes my job easier. So I'm like, cool, great. Shout out to Cass.
Yeah, yeah, she's
She's
great.
she might be the goat.
Let's have a
Anyways,
look at- let's have a
what
look
the
at
hell
these
is
Americas
happening in
groups.
Americas?
We're going to have a look at the groups. We're going to
Nothing,
take a
yeah.
little overview of them, and then we're going to look at some of the matches that we've got coming up. We also, because we've got this partnership with Sage Tatooine, we've got an exclusive interview again this week as well, and we
Ooh.
will continue to have those as we explore Americas. But first of all, let's have a look at Group Alpha, shall we? So Group Alpha has some kind of nasty teams in it, but I don't know. Is there a group of death here? Just like straight up. It's got to be Alpha if it was one, isn't it? Maybe not, actually.
I don't think it's a group of death.
I don't think
I think these are fairly balanced groups.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say in Alpha you got a top 2, a middle 2, 3, and Loud.
It's hard because we haven't seen crew as well. But yeah, I would say
Yeah.
Alpha's a little more stacked.
Yeah,
Maybe?
I think that both groups kind of have like a pretty clear pecking order, and I think maybe with having both G2 and MIBR in Alpha, it's a
Yeah.
little bit harder. But I think compared to some of the other regions, like it actually feels pretty well balanced with how we ended up placing teams.
Yeah.
I guess if there's like a Fury of fall off, Group Omega could start to look like a lot more open. But I think even
Or
I don't
Crew
expect
blow
them to
up.
play as well as they did in kickoff. But I think even still, this should be like a pretty close middle of the pack. NRG pretty clearly on top, and yeah, pretty balanced groups.
So for Alpha, you said TMV, there's a clear top 2. I assume you're meaning MIBR and G2.
I might be.
What? It's a mystery? You won't unveil it to us?
He might also be meaning loud. Who's to say?
Yeah.
And then who are your middle of the pack teams? So like I think this is the more challenging part is who are the teams directly underneath those 2?
I would probably put Cloud9 next, but I think it's perfectly reasonable if you want to argue Lev. And then Envy, I think, have a chance to be that. Envy are just like, I don't know what to expect, to be honest. You could tell me that they completely implode and don't win a map, or you could tell me that they actually look pretty good and are like very competitive. And I could believe either of those scenarios or pretty much anything in between. I think they're completely up in the air. So that's, I would probably say expect-wise, like C9, Lev, Envy, but I think Lev and C9 you could easily swap. And Envy could end up being a lot better. I think an interesting question is who, because even though I put Cloud9 above Lev, maybe because it's Cloud9, I think like if MIBR and G2 were not to finish top 2, I might think Lev are the most likely.
Yeah. Dude, I have no idea expectations for Lev because it's one of those again. I look at the roster, but I'm just so worried they're gonna play slow again. But they also said in an interview that they're gonna play fast.
Yeah.
So
What do they
there's that.
actually? What do they literally play? Like, if you're not playing Neon with this, sorry, fucking hell, I'm getting confused.
Neon's on the
by
team,
them.
don't
I
worry.
know. If you're not playing Yoru, is what I meant to say. So Neon was
Do you
playing.
not think they just play like Neon Waylay?
Yeah, I think they do.
Yeah, they might.
I feel like they just, if they're trying
Even
to
with
play
the nerf,
fast
they
as
are playing
well.
with the nerf.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
are playing the Waylay nerf. I
still
was
think
thinking
they're
maybe they'll
different.
play a lot of Chamber
Chamber,
because
yeah.
that could be something. I mean, they experimented with it before. They could be just playing a lot of Neon on the Chamber, Sato on Neon. God, he's got to change his name, dude. He's got to.
Dude, but if I'm in this team, who are you making play Neon, as in the agent?
Sato, I think, because
I
Neon's a
think-
better
Ah,
opper, and
dude.
you
Oh,
want him on.
Spike.
Spike, man.
But if Spike plays Neon, who's playing?
Who gives a fuck? Spike's gonna win you the game anyway.
Who gives a fuck? Exactly.
Spike will win you everything anyway if you put him on Neon.
Spike is
Actually,
amazing.
yeah, to be fair, like a Neon, put Sato on Phoenix, something like that, and just let him go frag.
Sure,
But
sure.
then what's Neon playing? Dude, it's
Chamber?
like a bad skit.
Chamber?
It's like a bad
No, it
skit.
is. Yeah, it is.
He's playing Chamber.
Wait, but
yeah,
what's
okay,
Chamber
so
playing?
so you're playing Chamber Neon Phoenix. Yeah, I mean,
Sure.
not
I
many
mess
people are
with that.
doing that,
I
but
probably
you
would.
could.
I probably wouldn't, but yeah. Dude, I'm telling you, if Spike is on Neon, it's gonna be so fine.
Triple duelist, fuck it.
He's one of the best.
Yeah, he really is. It's been a long time.
Yeah, I
though,
forgot how
since-
much he had played, but he
He's
was
so
like a
good on
Neon
it.
one trick for a time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bring it back.
Yeah.
I'm down.
Let's have a look at Group Alpha again, because I think it does bode discussing some of the teams that are more towards the bottom. I think the teams towards the top, it's somewhat like, I think MIBR, they are just so thankful about the Yoru change. G2, I think, are fairly happy about it anyway. They were looking to play quite a lot of
G2 are going to farm
different
Americas
stuff.
anyway. It's G2 in Americas.
But I want to look at Envy more, because I think that team, we were talking about Martine and Gentlemates being maybe the most affected in the world by the Yoru nerf. What does Egster play? He's look at these stats, bro.
Yeah, that's
Look at that. 200 for audio listeners, 200 games of Yoru, 3 games of Breach, 3 games of KO, 1 game of Sky all time.
That is, I don't think, is there
So
another
good.
player in the world
Nah,
that is even
no
close
way.
to that level
Not
of one
even
trick? I
close.
don't think
No
anyone
way.
is even in the ballpark.
No.
that's the
Can't
biggest
be.
one trick we've ever seen.
So what does he like? Is
Plays
he the
Yoru.
one guy who sticks to
Plays
Yoru when
Yoru.
no one
He
else?
plays your.
No one else does.
He plays
Plays
your.
Yoru.
Because
Yeah,
the
he
rest
might
of his
have to.
team could fill in for it, right? Like, if you were going to play a double duelist lineup, you could play double duelist with Demon One Kesnet or something like
Yeah.
that.
Do either
does
Demon
change, I
One
think it
or
has to be
Kesnet
Sky,
play
no?
Neon? I don't
then
remember.
what does
I
Puffin
I
play?
remember Kesnet playing it occasionally, but I
Uh-huh.
don't remember it being great.
I mean, I've seen Demon One play Neon back on that old NRG roster, and I wish I hadn't.
Dude, I want to see Demon 1 on Chamber again, man. That time in Cloud9 was so fun.
Yeah, it was amazing. But that would require the rest of the team to fit their roles around him, and then you get the question of, like, what does Egster do to fit around him?
Oh, yeah, he played it in kickoff. Sorry, what am I saying?
I got
Like-
Yeah,
it.
but
I got
yeah.
no
Could,
idea.
like,
It
look,
wasn't great.
if Exeter plays something like Sky, which I feel like he might be
his
able to
second ever
do.
time.
Yeah, Poppin.
I mean, no
Poppin
matter who he plays,
plays.
it's going to be like
But
that.
you play
yeah.
double initiator. Poppin plays
Sure.
Fade or Sova, and then you play Chamber, Solo Neon, and Rossi on Smokes.
Yeah. I mean, the big
work.
question would still be Egster, but yes, that would function.
I think it would be fine because Demon One's so good on Chamber that it would fill the void of maybe the small time that it would take Extra to get better on other agents.
The thing that would be a little bit odd about that, I guess, is that do you remember how good Zelsis was at setting up Demon 1? Like, that coordination was actually the thing that made Demon 1 utterly overwhelming to deal with when he
Yes.
filled in for Cloud9.
And I think
was
if you
that
even look
there was
earlier in his
always
career,
support.
it was the same on EG
That's-
with having like Calm and Ethan double initiator to set him up in the,
But I don't
in
think
the same
if-
way.
If
then
what I'm saying is, if Egster's struggling a bit, getting to grips with it, the support is not going to be the same.
Yes.
But the thing that makes Extra really good on, well, one of the things is how good his flashes are.
Yeah, they are.
So surely he can move that on to the Sky or the KO.
Does that follow? I feel
It's
like
very
he's
different
like-
Dude, I'm
mechanically.
reaching, man. I agree. I'm reaching.
Look, we're gonna find out.
Yeah, we are going to find out. We're going to find out. All right, let's have a look at another team, though. Loud. Louder in the bin right now. Because the report is that Erda is not even going to be able to play with them. So, in theory, Erda should have been... Is it a report? Is it a rumor? I'm actually not sure exactly what the source of this was. But...
Then who's playing?
I
Their
can't even
assistant
remember.
coach,
Their assistant coach, yeah.
Oh,
who
shit.
was a player last year. Who was a tier 2 player last year.
And he's...
It was a
yeah,
report. It's
Portuguese
on.
Bati.
It's an article on VLR actually that that
right.
Bati is stepping in.
I mean, it was
Yeah.
farming a while ago.
Oh,
Look
here
at
we
him,
go.
fair play.
Well, yeah, but he was also playing in like... He was playing at quite a low level from what I was looking at in... You know, these are like...
Main tier 2.
Yeah, Iberian tier 2, tier 3 even kind of matches. So it's not... I don't know. I don't know what to expect, but I don't think it'll be as good as Erda.
I mean, they're going to start losing then. Let's be honest.
I mean, even with him, I don't think our expectations are high.
That's
so
the problem as well. It's like that now they got a stand, and at the same time they were playing some of the worst initiator usage I've ever seen. So
Don't worry though. Sky's back in business. If I know one thing about Kawanzini, he's a good Sky player.
That actually
That
is
is
gonna-
like that's the one
Yeah.
tiny piece of cope I have for this team that I legitimately think Kawa is one of the best Sky
Yeah,
players ever. The agent got buffed. Their initiator play in kickoff was diabolical, but they now have a good initiator player. You mean you're gonna what? Slam Verdi on the Neon. You get
Mhm.
Luke Show on the Chamber, and you pray a little bit, and maybe you get a win or two.
Yeah, the praying, I think, is going to have to do quite a lot of work there for them.
I like the Sky. Yeah, the Sky thing's right though. That actually
I
might
mean,
save
the
them.
thing is for Loud, their first game is against Envy. If they don't win that game, their next two are MIBR and G2. So,
Yeah.
like, this first week, and they're playing with their coach.
Yeah, it's so
Like-
tough.
That's
Oh, they're
tough.
actually probably going 0-5
Brilliant.
if they don't beat Envy week 1. If they don't
Yeah, no,
beat Envy, I think they will go 0-5.
If Lev sucks, or if like Erda makes it back in time for the last couple of weeks or something, but
Yeah,
bro,
but-
we were waiting for Basics Visa for how long?
I mean, we
4
still
months
are,
or
right?
something? It felt like
Months.
forever.
Yeah.
So I don't know
I'm
what.
pretty
the
sure
ETA might
we're still
possibly-
waiting on that also. Because he's on
Really?
the team.
Like-
He's on the team. He's on
But-
Furia still.
I mean, that's. But surely they're not trying to play him. Maybe they are. I
Turns
don't
out
know.
Alan was a sub the whole time.
Yeah. Okay, let's move over to Group Omega then. So Group Omega has Mimi gave us a little rundown of it before. I guess one of my first questions would be like Furia expectations. They are yet. I think they're still undefeated technically in Americas, aren't they? Because they just went through the upper bracket, and then they didn't
That's how
play
that
in
works.
America's team at Santiago.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are they still going to be that good? They didn't opt entirely into the Yoru meta. They did actually play like some maps with Koala on Chamber or Omen, if memory serves.
and Jet.
Yeah,
I think this is going to be one of the least vulnerable teams in Americas to this change. I think Koala is going to be just as good if you put him on the Jet, on the Omen, if you slap him on Chamber for a map. And I actually liked the maps where Lim was playing the Neon. I think he'll be solid slotting into that role. And with them already being willing to play a pretty good amount of these double controller comps, I feel like at least in terms of meta, I think it's going to be pretty comfortable for Furia. If I expect them to be like a top team and dominate Americas and like beat NRG and win this group, I don't really think so still. I think that the run that they had in kickoff was really good and they came in with great plans for exactly what was happening then. But I also think they met a lot of the top Americas teams at a time where they were really slumping down. I think like the G2 game is a great example. I think that first time they played NRG as well, I felt like it was a bit of an underperformance from those teams too. I think they're still going to be a top team in terms of like making playoffs, doing well in playoffs, being a competitor to make it to London, but I don't expect them to be like a guaranteed top 3 locked spot the way that they were in kickoff.
Sure. I would put them with like 100 Thieves basically.
Yeah, I think
Like,
that's
I mean,
fair.
that's basically the same level.
They get, remind me, Abyss and Corroda are out of the pool, aren't they? I'm not just talking
Correct.
out my ass. Yeah, okay. I do, sometimes my brain can't handle 7 facts at once about what the map pool is. They get a big benefit in that they didn't want to play Corrode, but they get a big loss in terms of being one of the best Abyss teams that we had. So
Same as G2.
yeah, a little bit. Let's have a look at the other teams then that are in Group Omega, because I think NRG, we don't need to talk about them too much. I guess they just, the meta
They'll be
comes
fine.
towards them, if anything,
Yeah, they're
right?
the favorite.
Yep.
Things are going well.
Yeah. So then 100 Thieves, mostly playing solo Waylay, playing a lot of Chamber as well with Cryo.
That'll be the
Did we
test, to be honest, of how
Right.
bad people think Waylay is on the new patch. If 100 Thieves don't play Waylay,
I don't think they can get away with the solo.
What would
well,
you
then
expect this team to
then
be
that's gonna
playing then?
interesting, isn't it?
Timo just goes Neon. Has he played Neon before? I remember looking at this guy's things before he's played everything, right?
True. But I do
dude,
think compared
look at
to
his
most of
Neon
the Waylay
stats.
teams, they played the least
Yeah,
like
that is
they played
good.
the least like Yoru TP and followed up because they were
Yeah.
playing it solo so often. Like I don't feel like most of their rounds hinged on like a double dash hinder in the same way it did for other teams. Like I felt like more often it was like Timo hindering one direction, kind of entering, and they had a lot more variety than other Waylay teams. I think they could still play it on some maps, but I do agree with you that
They did a
the
lot
better
of-
path is
They
to
did a
just
lot
play
of
the
jump peak hindering,
Sure.
which
Yep.
you would have to jump peak like with your fucking
thing in
hinder in
hand.
your hand. It's
That's
just
like how people play Sky and other characters and stuff too.
but it's on attack usually, which I think
Yeah.
is much more
True.
dangerous. I could see teams still doing it. I just think it'll be much more easily punished.
I think he'll go Neon, man. It just makes sense.
Yeah, I think it will.
Then just stick heavy with the Chamber.
His Jet was nice as well. We've seen some teams running
I
like
think
Jet
that's the thing.
across
It's not
quite a
even if they
few of the
need
pool.
to play a double duelist. Like you've got Cryo if you want to play Jet. You've got Asner even if you want to play Raze. Like, well, they don't have options if they want to do it.
I think
Bring
the bigger
back the
point to
Asuna
me is
solo
that
raise.
Not solo.
no,
Raze.
let's not do that. I think the bigger point to me is that they were already playing a lot of these Senti ideas, playing the Vito, playing the Sage, and I think in a meta where we're expecting more and more teams to move into the Neon, I think those compositions are going to be really strong as kind of counter meta picks, and with how good they looked playing the solo duelists already, I think not in a very different way than NRG. I think the meta has also, despite their Waylay getting nerfed, moved in a direction that already works pretty well for the style that they want to play, and is going to play very well into these teams that want to play the solo Neon, want to be very aggressive, and kind of lean on that agent.
So of the other 3 teams that we've got there then, EG, Sentinels, and Crew, who are the teams expected to miss out? Like, is this a genuinely close fight between the 3 of them? Are there big favorites, big underdogs? Because there is a bit of a tier gap there, isn't there, in terms of how we're thinking about the top 3 and the bottom or
Yeah.
middle 3 in the group?
Sure.
I think it all hinges on how good Crew is from
Yeah.
having not seen the middle.
You got
Yeah.
a complete unknown. I think most people would probably put EG in the bottom 2.
Yeah. I
Um,
think so.
but I mean, like, yeah, Crew. I mean, to an extent, Sen as well are a little bit unknown. But I think there's enough Sen hype in the world. I mean, the thing is, Crew and Sen play each other first game, so
Okay.
that is going to be a very important and like you said, like you don't like this format because like a game in week 1 can decide. Like this could be a great example of like a game in week 1 just decides how you kind of did overall.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
It's weird because we didn't see them, but I think still, if we look back at how we were talking about this crew roster at the beginning of the year and the expectations that were put on them, this is a roster that I think if they can perform to their potential, I think they should be the 4th team making it. But it's a brand new team coming into their first stage because of the aforementioned issues. So there's a chance they crash and burn.
Shall we have a listen to an exclusive interview with Saadhak where he talks about what they've been doing in their time off?
Yeah.
Sage Dado,
Hopefully practicing.
Snap. Hi everybody, Sage Atsuan with Plat Chat. I'm here with KRU Saadhak, who is returning to VCT Americas. So I just have one question for you from Sideshow of Plat Chat. And his question was, it must have been rough just having to watch from the outside for the first time in your career. What has KRU and just you yourself been up to during this time away from the VCT during kickoff?
So, hello. Hi, guys. We're finally here. Yeah, to be honest, it was the first experience in this way, like watching my own team playing without actually the players, right? And it felt a little bit awkward and uncomfortable because, like, why are we not there, you know? Like, it's kind of like it felt, how can I say it? Like, bad. Yeah, it felt unjust, you know? Like, yeah. So in the meantime, we basically, okay, we're just going to keep practicing and just keep grinding the game. We luckily had a bootcamp on Chile. So we managed to practice against some of the best teams. Yeah, just keep grinding and just keeping the head together, trying not to explode, you know, because of lacking of playing. And yeah, just grinding and practicing a lot.
I mean, what were some of the biggest takeaways from that bootcamp that you found in the team? Because you're also coming into it where the meta is going to change as well. But like, what are the things that still remain intact after that experience?
So I think the biggest thing for us would be, okay, we can actually beat high-level teams with what we got, you know? And even though we managed to do so, I think the biggest take would be, okay, now we really need to play to see if we can apply actually what we learn, you know? Because we actually understood we had what it takes, but now the meta shifted again, so we have to rebuild. And yeah, now we just have to go there and just do it, you know, and see if we are actually capable of doing what we learned, basically.
And is just anyone that you're really excited to face in 2026?
Not really. I would say we're just, right now with this team, we're taking it one step at a time. We're just here, you know, like we just landed here. So that for us is a victory of itself. But yeah, I think the next big opponent is Sentinels, right? And after that, it's going to be another one and then another one. So for us, it's take it step by step, see what we're dealing with.
Yeah. Well, excited to see it. You have a very tight group where I think it feels like anyone could compete with each other. So I'll be excited to see that. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for your time, Saadhak, and then welcome back to the stage in the studio.
Man, I wish that they were in a group with Envy, so we could have seen Saadhak play against Kesnet early on, but unfortunately not. I thought, I mean, obviously they were bootcamping in Chile. I think we knew that already, but the idea that they took a lot of confidence from being able to beat some of the teams that were in Santiago is cool, but then he's like, but it's also a completely different meta. So you now have to do it like again with retooled compositions. What any takeaways from that in terms of confidence or how it's affected your thoughts on KRU?
Not really. I feel like
they're practicing.
Yeah, there's that. Yeah, I think I mean everyone's gonna have to adjust to the meta anyway, so everyone's in the same boat. And I guess the fact that they weren't having to play officials, they had the extra time that maybe some of the other teams didn't have that were in Santiago. They got a really good Neon, so that's like the main thing at the moment. I feel like they got Dante, right? He's up there, man. He's well, at least in the Neon meta, he was one of the ones that were making it look completely busted. So I feel like with that, and then you got Viper, you got Les.
Yep.
Like the two main, like slightly busted agents right now. You got some of people would argue top 3, maybe.
Yeah.
Depends on what
I mean, besides Duelist, I think MW's best role is the Sky as well. Like, I feel like that was the role when he wasn't playing Duelist that he did look the best at. During the many times he was playing in the past. It feels like a team that is well suited to succeed in this meta. Saadhak is a very, I don't know, every time you listen to him talk, he's just very, very level-headed, very, very chill. His experience always shines through. I feel like he's like the perfect guy to bring to having a really tough situation like that, where you just can't play and you get boned from nothing of your fault and just having to make the best of that. I would honestly be surprised if they don't end up making playoffs, and it is one of Envy or Sen that make that turnaround instead. Just because I do feel like they're just in a good position with the agents they like to play with, even though they missed out having that time to prac. Still, I think I would be surprised if they end up placing much higher than that and end up being one of the top teams in this group.
Well, as you said, they play against Sentinels first, so let's see what we predicted in terms of the opening match. It's literally the first match of Americas, is one of the most important in terms of how Group Omega might end up panning out. There are actually some sick matches too. It feels a little bit like the opposite of Pacific, where Pacific had a bit of a snoozer week, but all of the week one matches are good in all of the regions, I think. Community tab for the Americas match of the week. I'll get to that later on when we talk about it, but opening up, Sentinels versus KRU. Let's put our money where our mouths are.
Holy,
Ooh.
what the
Damn,
hell?
you guys
This
all
was-
went for KRU.
This was about to be a KRU clean sweep guarantee up until Sliggy said, no, I believe in Sentinels.
I had him ticked as well at one point. Like I had him ticked, and then I came back and I was just like, more just being a skeptic until I see it from KRU, then I can get on board, I guess, is where I'm feeling. Just having a bit of faith in Jonah, to be honest. New coach should be good. Like it just feels like 50-50. The problem is KRU's so unknown that I'm just kind of thinking, well, it's a guess, man. It's a guess.
This game is a complete guess. Let's be real.
Yeah. I got nothing to go off of. It was just like, yo, man.
My
Why not?
big thing for wanting to go for KRU here is that they've just had more time with a stable roster. And I know that the meta has just shifted underneath them. I mean, we just heard it from Saadhak, right? That like they were feeling confident with the previous patch. They were feeling like they could beat the teams at Santiago, at least some of them, not all of them. And now they've had to retool. Of course, every team's had to do that. But I think it's got to be a bit of an advantage compared to Sen, who've just had to redo their whole roster. And the roles that a lot of people are playing and the IGLing are like, it's just been such a seismic shift.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
Phoenix is now decent, or considered decent.
Is that
Okay.
you're saying that as a buff?
The
Saadhak?
Saadhak.
Because
Saadhak,
Harbor's
yeah.
also decent.
Harbor, Phoenix.
That one, yeah.
But if you want to
man.
try put both of them in there, I'm not sure exactly how it's going to
No,
work.
but certainly one of them. And well, this is the thing. My suspicion is that it was Eng who's the Harbor guy, and it's Saadhak who is the Phoenix guy.
I think they're
But they-
both Harbor guys.
Saadhak pioneered Harbor Viper.
Yeah.
He was the first player to ever run the Harbor, like properly.
Yeah, but they were good back then. That's
So
fine.
you just think Eng only likes shit Harbor?
Well,
But surely if he liked it, he'd be playing it now.
but Loud were playing Phoenix before. Remember, who was it?
Don't bring up the
QCK.
fucking QCK Phoenix.
They were playing
man.
Phoenix.
They
well,
were
playing
pla-
Phoenix.
Saadhak actually loved that comp. The Phoenix
Yeah.
Breach KO comp. He was
Loved
talking about how that was his baby. Like he was the one that
Exactly.
came up with that one.
God, I'd try and disattach myself from that one. Jesus Christ, that's going up for adoption. That is holy. That's a bad comp, man.
Surely
that's
this
what he wants to put
meta-
his name to.
Well, one of them. He's invented multiple metas.
I
Yeah,
think
I mean,
that's
the
the,
Sky
Harbor
one's
Viper
nice.
one.
The Sky Harbor one's nice, dude.
I think that was the biggest outburst I've seen from you. Like just like
Putting
a
a baby
half
up
a
for
second of the
adoption.
mask slipping in pure rage
Yeah,
at that
shit.
composition.
Such a shit comp, man. Holy. Trying to play Scent with no one that can dive past the choke point was mad.
Surely
was
this
crazy.
is a meta that is encouraging them to be normal. You have one of the best Viper players, Viper's really good. You have a good Sky player, Sky's really good. You have a great Neon player, Neon's really... Like, I feel like all of their players are pushing them in the direction of you can just be normal and play good comps and win, and it's Saadhak, so it still might be silly. But
I mean, hold on. They don't have someone. Oh, well, yeah, I guess they do because MW would just play the Sky and he would just
Yeah,
run
he's
at you
good
with
at
the
it.
Sky.
He's,
Wouldn't he?
yeah,
Because everything else, I feel like MW was heavy struggling on stuff that wasn't just running at you with a Sky or a Fade. But yeah, if he does that, yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. All right, let's go on to our next game, though, because the next game is the match of the week. This first one could have been actually for like a mid-game,
Sure.
a mid-table one. But this one's two top-table teams playing against each other. G2 plays MIBR, which Great game, to be honest with you. And we've
close as
with
well.
3 to
I
1
think I was picking
again.
the slight underdog in each,
Yeah, so
in
did
each
I.
game.
Mimi's gone for G2. The rest of us have gone for MIBR. Mimi, the floor is yours.
Okay. I went for G2. They're coming off of I think a pretty solid performance at Masters Santiago. Even though the end of the Paper X game that knocked them out of the tournament wasn't great. I think that they're a team that is going to be solidly suited to switching back towards that solo duelist. I think that putting Jaw on the Neon, I think he needs some work on the agent in terms of the way he's pathing, but I imagine that's been a lot of the fixture. I think this team is very good at playing that kind of slower control style. They have a player who wants to be one-tricking on the chamber. I think the changes will be solid there. I think they're a bit of an underdog in terms of the firepower and such against an MIBR, especially an MIBR who's had all this time to practice, but the reason I went for them in the end, in a game that is so close, is because, motherfuckers, do you forget where we are? We're in America.
Yeah.
They're winning this game.
True.
Picking G. Imagine trying to explain yourself picking G2 in an America's game. Like,
Yep.
bruh.
It's an America's game. It's Plat Chat. They win every America's game. We have to be biased for G2. The pred was easy.
And then they don't do anything at every international. And
Yep.
Yeah, and then we get
Yeah.
sad. Yeah, we know the story. We know the story.
They did something this internet.
Yeah, to say they did nothing, that's harsh.
No. It's, yeah. But they did worse. Yeah,
They
it's
never
not
win.
not their best
never win
performance,
it.
but they don't win. Yeah.
Yeah.
MIBR, I think there's a couple of reasons to believe in them. One is the Yoru nerf just hits this team like a beautiful gift. they are.
Is that how you
oh
like
my-
to receive your gifts? Just
I like
thrown at your face? Hit by them?
slapped in the face. But if you ever see me over Christmas, you know what to do. A dairy milk to the chops, just. Yeah, the Yoru nerf is just amazing for this team, and I think that Mazzino is just going to be mad comfortable either playing double initiator, double controller, harbor. Like this guy should just be pretty excellent at whatever you put him on. And if you want to go double duelist, Aspas second, I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
and they looked like they hadn't really done much theory before kickoff. And now they've had more time to prep than G2 have, arguably, because of G2 going to Santiago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The way that I'm looking at it as well is you kind of get 2 maps that you could get away with playing the Raze if you wanted to as well. And Aspas is a solid Raze, so it just kind of makes sense. It's really comfy on Lotus with it as well. So I just think pure comfort's going to be better. And then I imagine they're going to lean a little more into double duelist just because of how kickoff went. That's pretty much where I'm at. I just think as well, just the time off and being able to watch all these teams that you probably believe you're better than playing at an international. There's nothing like it to kind of motivate you as well. So I feel like they're going to. I actually think they're going to win Americas this
split?
yeah stage 1.
Yeah. Not unreasonable. I think NRG might even be their biggest competition. But
Yeah.
I've been a bit down on G2, so I'm not the best person to pay attention to for that kind of thing.
Or in
All
general.
right. Oh, yeah, or just generally. Tune me out.
Mm.
Let's go to the next game. Sick of hearing the sound of my own voice. 100 Thieves play against EG. Is this as one-sided as it looks? Because I think there is a clear favorite, but what's the percentage?
65-35, 60-40, something around there.
Right.
Just
Yeah, I
because
would go 60-40.
we got unknowns,
Mm.
Yeah.
basically.
And also, there was times when DG was frying.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely frying. Like, if he comes out in that form, yeah, it wouldn't be unreasonable that EG could win this game, I don't think, if he does come out and fries again. And again, this is like 2 teams that, I mean, genuinely, who knows what they'll play, right? Like, it is kind of open right now. And, like, would it shock you if 100 Thieves did pull out something really strange, right? Like, they could do, and it might not work, right? It probably will, because we've seen them do that already, and it has worked. So I trust them that it probably will be at least okay, but it wouldn't shock me if they, still had some map pool issues or, with the new maps or whatever,
Sure.
and EG catch them off guard. Especially if we pull out an old classic EG fracture, and EG are actually good at that.
Oh,
I do think the map
fracture.
changes are good with Lotus and Fracture. Those are both 2 traditional EG good maps. If you're leaning on the history a little bit, yeah. I mean, when they played at the end of a kickoff for EG to be eliminated, I honestly felt like EG should have won that game. I think that they kind of fumbled in the latter half of honestly both maps to let it slip. And I think that losing there and kind of how they let that game slip has, I think, colored people to see this as just another EG, which I see it as just another EG. But the thing about being EG is that there's always those matches in the group stage where you come out with something new and you're gonna win a couple. So I think that this is possible. I think it's a 60-40, but I like where 100 Thieves' heads were at in kickoff with their meta read. I think that the changes benefit them as well, and I think they also should just beat EG in terms of firepower, unless it's a crazy DG day.
Also,
People do always go on, Sleggy, yeah.
I was gonna say Yoru nerfs. It's just DG Zing gets hit by Yoru nerfs. 100 Thieves didn't play Yoru. Like 100 Thieves, if they're not good, like straight away stage 1, then kickoff was for nothing essentially. Playing no Yoru, so they're ahead of. Well, they're ready for the Yoru to be nerfed. They don't have to change as much.
Do you think DG's hurt by a Yoru nerf? I never felt like he was like a big Yoru one tricker. I feel like he's been like stronger when he's played other roles in the past more so.
I wouldn't say one trick, but he's definitely an op abuser.
Sure.
But I think he'll just end up playing Neon and frying people by being aggressive and opping
he
with
can
the
do
Neon.
that.
But I
that's
do
how I
agree,
feel.
like the Yoru helped him get the op in his hands all the time, but I think the Neon really can do that too.
Sure. You can get on that.
Let's talk about the Yoru nerfs though. Next game, NV plays against Loud. Both of the teams that we are unsure about, that we're thinking have been hit by nerfs and stuff. And again, it's a 3-1, no guarantee on this one because Mimi's gone for Loud.
I've dissented again.
Is this still with knowing that Erde isn't going to be playing for them and they're playing with an assistant coach?
No, I didn't know that when I made this spread.
Okay, well, that's the
but I'm
that's
not
the
going to
report
change
on
it because
VLR.
I would feel horrible if we guaranteed this game because I still don't think this is a guarantee. I think Envy, like you're bringing up, getting hit big time by the Yoru nerfs, and I think also at the end of their run in kickoff, honestly looking really rough. I felt like the team was just not on the same page in a lot of ways. But given the context of this being Loud, who was also one of the biggest disappointments of kickoff, and that they're playing with the sub, I feel like there is a good chance that Envy's individuals just run it down. It's a good Demon 1 chamber game. You have Kezit on the Neon running at you, and it struggles. The things that I was leaning on for Loud was a little bit of hope around the Cowanzine Sky coming back, a little bit of hope around Luke Shaw on a chamber, and having really low Envy stocks personally, even excluding what's happening with Yoru getting killed.
Okay. Well, this one just seems insane. Let's move on to another game, though, because this next game, I think you can dig your teeth in a little bit more to the analysis of what you think might happen, is Cloud9 versus Leviathan. Because we were discussing these teams, but you said these were the two teams that might be competing for that third place spot or something. And I'm the only Lev believer.
Thank
We
God
got a
for
lot
that,
of
though.
3-1s going on
Yeah.
here. You're saying, thank God. Do you think that this, were you like slightly unsure with the Cloud9 pick?
Yeah. I flip-flopped with this as well because it's just like if they play the Neon and I'm not entirely sure what they're gonna do with Neon himself, like the actual player. Dude, I wish he had a different name.
Yeah.
Like I'm not entirely sure what they're gonna do, but if Silence goes on to Neon, then I'm like I'm in. And they play fast, I'm in, but I need to see it. I'm at that point again. But if they play slow, man, I'm just like.
His real
Can
name,
we
by
just
the way,
start
is
calling
Bruno.
him Bruno?
Yeah, I was just gonna say we gotta talk about Bruno.
Yeah.
TMV, Mimi,
Yes.
the Cloud9 believers. Is this based on a lack of belief in Lev or a belief in Cloud9?
I would say more of like Sleggy wanting to see Lev because I think Cloud9 are just a gatekeeper, and I feel like I know what I'm getting, whereas Lev, I don't know what I'm getting. I'm hopeful to get some. I kind of hope I'm wrong almost in a way, and I hope Lev look really like cool and insane. Because if they look slow and boring, then I'm just not going to want to watch their games.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I couldn't, in good conscience, Pred Lev this game because C9 is just very consistent at doing pretty well in these group stages, and Lev just looked so bad in kickoff. But I kind of hope I'm wrong. I'm
coping. I'm just pure coping that Lev have learned from what they were doing so badly in stage 1, and they've gotten over it. Whether that be jitters, like a confidence, like I just want them to play like they do in scrims and run at people, and hopefully that's what I get from this game. Final game from Americas is A banger, actually. A banger. Another potential match of the week candidate, to be honest with you. It's Furia playing against NRG. Undefeated Furia in Americas or against America's teams. Dude, why do we do it to ourselves?
Mimi looks happy about that one.
Yeah.
We always don't believe in
NRG's gonna
Furia.
win.
Yeah.
Look, if it was anyone
What?
else,
Give me a percent, Josh. Give me a
I even
percent.
think if it was G2 or MLBR, anyone else, we wouldn't do this.
Yeah. What, you really think it was against G2 or MIBR? We wouldn't do this. I would be prepping MIBR as well. Over Furia.
I think someone
Same,
would
I
be
think.
willing to take a gamble.
Sure.
I'm not
but,
sure.
But, so then is your argument that NRG, because the metas come towards them and because they did so well at Santiago, like everything just looks like NRG
Just
should
NRG,
be?
bro. What do you mean? Like, the thing is, we're guaranteeing a team who historically, I mean, literally was the champs winner last year, who, yeah, sure, maybe didn't have the best kickoff, but at Santiago looked better than Fury.
Fucking America's fans, when two of their teams make top 4 at an international event, I just don't know, man. This region might be cooked when they come back. I feel like they're just gonna lose every game. I don't know. Like, they just really struggled in that one. They lost to the world champions. It's just gonna be really rough. Motherfucker, both of these teams did very well at an international event. The meta is coming towards NRG even more. They're just gonna be good. It's very reasonable, I think, to guarantee this game. Doesn't mean it's 100%, but I think it's like a 65-40. 45.
Yeah. And they have
35.
the
I can do
they
math.
have the
65-45.
they got the same buff of like what 100 Thieves have of just a flexible duelist, man. So it's like these changes, I don't see it
They
being
weren't a big
that
Euro
big.
team. Like,
Weren't a big
Yeah.
Euro team. They
Yeah, I
used
think
a
I
fair
would
amount
give it a
of Waylay,
60-40, something like that
Yeah.
would be,
Sure.
maybe even a 55-45. Like, I do think it's going to be close, though. I still thought Furia played well at Santiago, really. Like, they got blown out on, like, one of the maps or something, but the overall performance was not that bad.
Mhm.
but
Real quick.
like, can EU play as well as he did? Because he was unbelievable. Like, he was popping off at Santiago.
No, but I think Alan might play a little bit better or something.
yeah, the rest
I
can
don't
play
know.
better.
Yeah. No, EU was insane. Sorry, what was
I
that?
was gonna say, we've actually guaranteed against Furia 3 times this year, and we've been wrong every
What
time.
could go wrong?
And this is the
We've
4th
been wrong
time.
4 for
literally
4.
every
That's
time.
awesome.
So
That's sick.
Keep it up.
Four's the charm.
They should,
What
they,
did they
should,
say?
they should thank us.
Yeah,
Mm.
keep the pressure
Sure.
up.
Yeah.
Let's disperse and finish with our final segment, the most important segment every single week. Let's end this episode with Wyatt's Weekly Award.
Damn, I love video games.
He's so talented. Well, this week's Wyatt's Weekly Award was an easy slam dunk, in my opinion. And it's to a fan of Narrate from Mongolia, whose name on his account was Sen Narrate, not KC Narrate, sorry, who accidentally got given Narrate's main North American account by Riot support. How on earth does that happen? Apparently no security questions asked whatsoever. They just handed the account over, and he managed to get in touch with the real Narrate and said that he'd accidentally recovered his account. And I'm a big fan of yours.
use his Valorant point.
I'm a big fan of yours, bro. I'm a big fan of Sentinels. I have written a chat to Riot and told Narrate to recover your Valorant account. He said, I won't use your Valorant points, but please could I switch the skins and play 1 or 2 unrated? I mean, that guy's a G.
Polite guy ever. You
I
okay
hope
if
he played an
switch the
unrated or two.
skins? That's
Yeah.
crazy. Bro, just switch them. You're fine.
He got a couple DMs in, don't worry.
God, how does
Yeah.
that happen, though? That's kind of nuts.
No, it's absolutely insane. Like, what an incredible fumble from the Riot support. How, like, surely it isn't as simple as just, like, clicking a button on an account that just happens to be called Send Narrate. There should be some form of, like, asking, like, you know, any security question at all.
Yeah, this is
Yeah,
mad,
well, they
isn't
probably
it?
asked a Sentinels related one, like, who was the MVP of Masters Madrid, and why was Casey such a disappointment at that event? And he'll like rattle it off really quick, and like, yep, so everything checks out. You sound like Send Narrate. Here's your account, buddy.
This tweet from Narrate. Now, I mean, Narrate is mad about this, obviously, and with good reason, to be honest
Yeah,
with you.
dude.
But look at this. The guy did not have my password, my email address, my name, let alone access. nor my two-factor authentication on my, and then he just flexes that he's got an iPhone 16
Damn,
Pro
dude,
Max,
what
I
the
guess.
hell?
Yeah.
Is that an expensive phone? Why is he
Dunno.
fucking dropping the phone name?
Also-
that is weird.
Also, you probably don't want to tell people exactly what your two-factor authentication's attached to. You know, you're on the phone with them and they're like,
At the top,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
got
yeah.
this message response.
but yeah, it is very bizarre that this has happened, but incredibly based that the fan that they gave the account to was so polite about it. So,
What a
so
legend, yeah.
we don't even know what the fan's name is because he goes by Send Narrate on.
Is he still Send Narrate?
He said that the account was called Send Narrate
Maybe that's why Narrate struggled so much.
because they were
Maybe it
looking for
wasn't called
KC.
this
Narrate.
guy was
maybe it
playing.
wasn't him. Maybe it was. Maybe
Wait, when he's in
maybe-
EMEA,
maybe Send
Mongolian
flew in
narrate
the wrong
plays.
guy.
Yeah.
Holy
Well, that's
shit.
why he was playing so much Odin and Ares. I did think it was weird that he wasn't playing rifles.
Yeah.
It was Mongolian narrate. Incredible. Yeah, really, really bizarre situation, but what a dude, what a guy. The winner of the Plat Chat.
Plat
winner
Chat.
of Plat
Winner
Chat.
of Plat
Plat
Chat.
Chat.
He's done it again.
Yep. Congratulations. Next week when we come back, there's going to be more news to talk about, more games to discuss. We'll never let you go. It's going to be a 17-hour episode. But for
Nice.
now, that does it for us. Thank you for joining us. Bye.